sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
That's right. This is State of My Sports, and this is episode 171. We're recording live tonight here on Tuesday, August 30th, 2022, out on the deck. During our beer flight segment, we'll discuss discuss Zadina's new contract, some golf, Lions cuts, and then what was yours again, Micah?
Scott Frost.
Scott Frost, the good old Scott Frost that I will never bet on again. The core of the episode, we will have our full season preview for both Michigan State, who opens their season on Friday, and Michigan, who faces Colorado State on Saturday. We'll discuss where we are confident, where are the biggest questions and concerns are, and play the official schedule game for both teams, so that'll be a good time. We'll make some picks against the spread in our Betting Hero segment, and of course we will drink and review some Michigan craft beer. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, let us know what you're sipping on tonight and be part of the conversation. Let us know your opinion on all the topics, and maybe we'll even count your vote during the schedule game. I don't know.
Better vote.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. I don't know yet. It depends on who you vote for. If you're on my side, yeah. If you're not, then maybe you won't get a vote. We'll leave that. Yeah, but I forgot where. Before we jump in, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery site of My Sports, and BettingHero.com helps us and you get the best promos available in the sports betting world. There's so many good ones out there, and I'm so excited to bet on sports. I'm so excited to get back in the game.
You ramping back up?
I actually just found a platform that I didn't sign up for yet, so I signed up for that. And
what was that?
It was DraftKings. Out of all of them, DraftKings. Yeah, they were a sponsor for us for a few episodes, and I didn't even do it. I don't know.
Man. I thought, well, you made all those other burner accounts. Just
yeah, probably.
Perks, right?
Yeah, no, I was surprised that I didn't do it, but I got the new customer deal from Betting Hero that was going on. It was place a $5 bet in a football game, you get $200 in free bets. So I got 8 $25 free bets to use. So.
Whoa.
Yeah, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a good way to go.
Pat.
I lost my first one, though, so that kind of sucks. That's what it is.
Come on, man.
All right.
I'm Sam Waltart. With me today, we got Micah Smith.
What up?
Ryan Waltart.
Hello.
And John Dornbos, drafting behind the scenes. He's got his fantasy draft tonight.
Live draft starts at 9.
Starts at 9, and you're the commissioner, so you got 14. You got your phone just getting blown up right now?
Yeah, people that can't get logged in, can't find the app on their phone. It's like, come on, guys.
Get out of here.
I gave you the hour heads up at 8:01 on the dot.
That
you got to
not a
get
last
with
minute
the
thing.
game.
Technology's
and then
hard.
there's someone that might be or might not be having a baby, too. Like, that's just crazy. Just bad luck, right? Probably maybe I shouldn't have said that, but
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I must have too much on my mind because I forgot to hit record on Audacity, so we missed your intro there.
well, we can
but-
just we can pull the thing from the video, so
All right,
we'll be all right.
We'll
be
be
good.
all right. We'll
Yeah.
get there.
We'll be all right as long as we sound good. That's all that matters.
We're
right?
recording now.
Perfect. Love that. Where we at? Oh, I want to ask how you guys' week was going. How you guys have a good week last week?
Was going?
Was going. How was your weekend? Michael, we went to Burning Foot.
We did.
Tell everybody about Burning Foot.
So Burning Foot, it's a massive beer fest, craft beer fest at Pier Marquette in Muskegon, Michigan. It's right on the beach. 94 plus breweries this year. Crazy. I thought it was maybe 50 or 60. I didn't want to blow it out of proportion, but it was 94 plus. They have live music all day, all night on a big stage. It's not some little rinky-dink stage. It's set up to the nines. It's really well organized. There's camping on the beach if you opt to do that. Which we did. And there are so many boats and so many people to hang out with, talk to, and play games. It's just a riot.
Wait, so you guys camped on the beach overnight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was actually really cool.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we pitched a tent. What time did we get there? We got there about
Sure
Sorry,
did.
that was, oh boy.
Still going.
Going well so far. No, but we got there probably about, by the time we got there, it was about 12,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah. 12:30.
So then we put the tent up, and then we went and hung out at Joe's in-law's boat, which was fun. Played some the Beersby, I think it's called. Is that what it's called? Beersby, the one with the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really fun. I love that game.
It's always a good one.
And I mean, honestly, that's one of the more fun parts of it. I think. Like, I love the festival, obviously, but
Well, you're in the water having fun. We
Yeah.
don't do it on the beach. We play that Beersby in the water. You keep cool, and thank God we had great weather.
yeah, it was perfect.
So
it really was.
That was great. We had a good time.
What was your favorite beer? Do you remember? Because
I
I
do.
have one that stands
It's
out.
the Melon Farmer from Trail Point.
Trail Point.
It's a
That was really
cucumber
good.
watermelon shandy,
That was excellent. We got to
really
get our
good.
hands on that one.
and a
Then-
couple of other
the,
ones.
The
So,
one that I really liked was from, I think it was from Pigeon Hill. There were 2 dill pickle ones.
yeah,
That dill pickle beer sounds terrible.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. They were really good. Do you remember what the other one was? It 3 Blondes?
I don't think it was 3
It was
Blondes.
right next to 3 Blondes then.
Oh, you must
Darn it,
be
I
from
can't-
Canada, eh?
I can't remember, but
The dill
Yeah,
sunflower seeds.
Oh, yes.
I walked up to Pigeon Hill and I had one in mind, and the server took the tape off like they had just tapped it, and I'm like, really, a pickle beer? She goes, yeah, let me taste it 1 second. She cracked the first sip, and she goes, it's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, but really, dill pickle? And
Yeah.
she goes, do you like pickle? And I said, yeah, I like pickle. She goes, you're going to like this beer. So I'm like, all right, take my ticket.
Is that going to be the new craze?
It might be. I mean, it wasn't crazy. I mean, you weren't just drinking alcoholic pickle juice, right?
yeah.
It was tamed
It was
down.
very well done.
yeah.
Like they had it balanced well. I want to try that one on the podcast for sure. I want to try
Yeah.
one of the pickle ones.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it was good. I just don't know how much of it you can drink, because it's pretty. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can drink a full pint. I don't know. I mean, because there's little samples and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have to find some for the podcast.
How about
John,
you guys?
Yeah, how's your week, man?
Busy, just working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worked like 57 hours last week. So,
Dang.
yeah, saving up some money. Got a little excursion coming
Yeah.
up here. Fill you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you'll be gone next week.
Be MIA. Yep.
Yeah, for a real vacation.
Yep. I'll be south of the Mason-Dixon line or something. I don't know.
I have no idea where that is,
Does that run east
Yeah,
and
that's
west?
way
I don't
down there.
know. Yeah.
but yeah.
Be down in Texas.
Nice.
So we'll see
That'll
how
be
it
fun.
goes. Everything's bigger down there, right?
Right.
We'll
That's
find out.
Yeah, allegedly. Ryan, how about you? How's your week? Just busy?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't even know?
I don't know if I have a comment. Yeah.
Come up for air?
Yep.
No, that's good. But there's something I was going to ask you guys. Do we do a beer intro first? Before? Yeah, we do. What are we drinking tonight, Micah?
Drinking from Tapistry in Bridgman, Michigan, actually across the street from Transient Ales,
Which we did last week.
which we did last week. So Tapistry Tuesday this week and Transient Tuesday last week. We're drinking their Citron City Citra hopped American style pale ale.
That is, like, I don't want to say hazy. That's not the right word. But it's thick. What kind did you say it was? Is it just like an
It's
IPA?
golden.
Yeah,
man.
it's a Citra hopped American style pale ale.
That makes sense.
So, I'm going to read the can.
Ooh,
So,
I love
combining
Citra hops.
artistry and chemistry, this fan favorite has been in our beer arsenal for years. So we felt it was worthy of a seasonal can release. Enjoy this amazingly delicious Citra hopped delight.
I love Citra hops. I think those. I would say it's one of my favorite hops.
One of your faves.
Yeah, there was some Citra in Double Hutch, wasn't there? I feel like there was. And the reason why I say that, because like when I took a bite of the hop when we were brewing it, remember when I put one in my mouth? I probably shouldn't have done that, but it was
You're
good.
like, it looks so good. Looks so
It's not
tasty.
good to like do it, but like that's the taste that I'm getting is from. I don't know. There has to be Citra in the Double Hutch. But
I
what's
would
it?
think
Should
so.
look that up.
We should. What's the percentage?
I'm looking for it, and I don't see it.
Maybe we'll get that for the beer grades time.
For sure.
We're gonna jump into our beer flight segment, but before we do, I want to remind everyone. Well, I don't know if I should do that.
Yeah,
like,
we gotta call
we should
out
actually talk
DeHop's
about
a bit.
this.
Yeah.
So DeHop's is going through some staffing changeover for the league, is what they announced today on their Facebook and Instagram. So they will be closed for further notice.
Some challenges there.
We're not really sure when they'll be open. We don't have a whole lot of information. I've been trying to get a hold of Ben and see if they're going to be doing can cells or anything like that, or maybe like crowlers and all that good stuff.
Sure.
Haven't got much information on that. But they'll be back open soon, hopefully, and we'll kind of keep going. Otherwise, we'll keep telling you guys everything that we know because, well, they're our sponsors. So we got to keep filling everybody in, right? Even if it's not good news, just kind of the way it works. But if you're looking for a job, maybe they'll be looking to hire. I don't know like exactly the ins and outs, but we love DeHop's and hope that they can get back on track.
I actually totally forgot about that today, and we went there for Taco Tuesday.
Did you really?
And the whole family was bummed.
Oh, where'd you guys go instead? Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A, yeah.
I figured
He's right there, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, so no Taco Tuesday, no Stein Night Wednesday. I'm gonna get more information and pass it on hopefully next week. And I don't know if we're gonna be recording there in a couple weeks either. So
we just
kind of up in the air.
Yeah, we just had a draft, like a little mini 4-team draft there last Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And we played pool, had the draft, stayed late. Like, it was awesome. It was a great atmosphere.
They treated us well.
We're hoping they come back. They'll come back up.
Yeah, but let's get into our beer flight topics for today. I'm actually going to start, if that's all right with you guys. Can I
I'm actually going to start.
You're going to start? Oh, so you can get your draft going.
No. But Carrie is drinking a staycation from Arvon Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah. All right. What kind of beer is that, Carrie? I'm trying to remember. Is it a sour or is it like a IPA? Does anybody remember here?
I feel like it's an IPA.
Is it?
I didn't hear what it was.
I think you're right, yeah. It is. I can picture it now. I think so.
At least the can. I can picture the can.
Yeah. No, that's good. But you want to start with your flight segment?
No, I was just throwing that in there.
There?
I was going to throw that in at the end of the DeHop's plug, but our plug was
much of a plug, huh?
It was the best read yet, though.
More of an unplug.
It was, yeah. Way to script that one, sir.
Yeah, I meant to do it, I just didn't get any information.
Did they not say anything to you guys on Thursday when you were up there then?
I did know it was coming.
Oh, all right.
I talked to Ben a little bit about it. I didn't know if it was going to officially happen. There was rumors. So.
Got you. Okay. No big deal.
But yeah, it started today officially, so unfortunately. But for my flight segment, I got some Red Wings to talk about. Philip Zadina, he did get his new contract, so he was, I believe, the only restricted free agent left. At least that's worth talking about heading into this year for the Red Wings. So they got the deal done. It was a 3-year deal, $1.825 per year, which is actually pretty. It's lower than I thought it was going to be. His base salary starts at $915 this year, jumps up to $1.8. And then $273 for the last season. But when it's a cap hit, like they average everything out, and then he'll be a cap hit for the $1.825 each year. So 3 years. And for the people
it's pretty cheap.
It is cheap. It's very cheap for, what was he, a 6th overall pick back in 2018 is what I is off the top of my head.
Adds value to the club. Do we want more from him maybe? But he's still growing into his role, right?
Exactly. Yep. He's... And with the depth that I think Yzerman's creating, a guy like this can really benefit from the depth, because if he's going to be playing with, he was a third-line guy, sometimes snuck into the second round, but not deep. The Red Wings were so bad. He was playing with really bad players in the NHL.
That's where he's going to stay.
But if he's going to be playing with higher-end talent, he's going to get more looks. He's going to get more opportunity to play his game. So I'm glad that we're keeping him. Do I think he's going to have a renaissance year and take off? No, not necessarily. But I would rather take another chance for a cheap amount of time. It's a small roster spot, small cap hit. None of that hurts what the Red Wings did. If you lose out on that 6th overall pick already, that's what hurts. If you can get anything of this guy, that's what we need to do. He brings depth, and that's really important to me. And really, it just comes down to, with Zadina done, his contract all taken care of, it's just, I'm just waiting. I'm trying to read all these articles of, all right, what's going on with Bertuzzi? What's going on with Larkin? It seems like it has to be being worked on behind the scenes, but there's literally nothing out there. But we'll definitely be the ones to tell you as soon as it happens. Actually, it'll probably happen on a Wednesday morning, right after we're done recording, so we probably will tell you a week later. That's kind of the way it works, right?
That's our MO.
All right, John, are you on the clock yet?
I'm not, but I'm trying to figure out why it's showing everybody else's auto pick.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
So you want to skip on your topic?
Yeah,
for
let's
now.
pass, or we can just cover it real quick. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to talk about.
Just go real quick, then you can focus.
Yeah,
Wrap it up, go.
Yeah, let's wrap up the golf season, right?
Yes.
The PGA golf season.
What's left of it?
Yeah, the FedEx Cup was awarded a winner this past weekend. They had their.
Who won the FedEx Cup?
I don't think he plays on the Live Tour. I don't think he's American. It's a guy that had like 16 top 10 finishes, I think, on the season too. So that's pretty incredible. Rory McIlroy, does that name ring a bell?
Oh yeah. Okay, so he won the tournament and
won the cup,
the playoff.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I knew he won the tournament, but I didn't know that he won.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
playoff or
He
whatever they call it.
leapfrogged number 1 in the world, Scotty Scheffler, on the last day. Yep. I think that tournament brings in the most amount of points too for the playoffs. So even if you're in the top like 8 or 9, I think if you win, you win.
And
so.
Scheffler's is the one that is going to the Live, correct?
No.
No.
Cam Smith.
Cam Smith. I get those two confused, even though they sound nothing alike. But so are you happy with that? Rory won it, especially with all the controversy that he's been.
Yeah, because he's obviously
stirring,
a
if you will.
huge proponent for the PGA Tour. He's not going anywhere. It was actually announced that him and Tiger Woods are starting a new like golf league, we'll call it. I don't really know too many of the details, but it sounds like it's either going to be indoor like stadiums or like simulator golf or something.
Supported by California and Texas.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything where they're going to. Yeah, I don't.
California's not corrupt, so it's fine.
I don't think they're going to be like bringing guys around to these, world-renowned courses and hosting tournaments.
That'll be interesting.
Sounds like just a ploy for them to like stay relevant in what is like today's golf.
Yeah.
Well, with that win, I mean Rory's still relevant. He's a great player. His stats on the season are incredible too. I think he had like all top 8 finishes in the majors. So Mr. Consistent. All right, I got to say something. I was not a Rory fan for the longest time. Really wasn't. Hated when he came to the tour. I was like, man, if this is the guy they're going to pass the torch to from Tiger Woods, like he's wearing Nike, he's hitting Nike clubs, like they're kind of grooming him that way. I don't know. He's just like a Weasley-looking guy too for a long time there. But as the years, pass, I have a lot of respect for the guy. He had a lot of like shortcomings where he was, runner up or couldn't close, couldn't do this. Well, this is the 3rd time he's won the FedEx Tour. So
is it really? Okay.
Good for him. And again, I think it's a good way to end the season for the PGA Tour. Scotty Scheffler winning would have been pretty cool too because he's not your big name. He's not your big flashy guy. He doesn't talk. He's not an interviewer whatsoever. Had a heck of a season as well. A lot of wins. He made a lot of money this year. Neither of those guys have a reason to leave for Live Golf, and we'll see what happens, in the off season. But it's announced that like 6 other names are leaving,
and Live is still going. They have a tournament this weekend, right?
Yeah. They got a couple left on the calendar year.
Yeah,
so,
901.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see all that. What did you say? 911.
901. I'm just giving him a heads up.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, oh boy, what? Someone hurt?
I'm turning my mic off.
Turn the mic off. Tell us when you're on the clock, and we'll discuss your pick. This is our team now. You know that since you brought the draft here tonight. Yeah, he's totally not listening.
Already.
As long as we're dialed in with the sound and stuff, we're good to go. Micah, I want you to go next here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's bring in another coaching blunder. So poor Scott Frost. He was well on his way to kind of recouping his team at halftime and going out there and making things happen, right? So
up 11.
Well, let me back up just a tad. So at halftime, Nebraska was down 14-17, okay? And so they come out of the tunnel, raring to go. They scored 2 touchdowns within a matter of 30 seconds.
Did they really? Holy. See, this is
scored at 9:37 and scored at 9:09. Okay? So they went up 11, all right? Went up 11, and what do you think Scott Frost likes to do? The man goes for an onside kick, right? So he's getting greedy. He's feeling it, He's got the energy, got the momentum, and momentum gone. So goes for an onside kick, fails from 9 minutes, 9 seconds left in the third. And what happened after that against Nebraska is they got outscored 14-0, threw 2 interceptions, punted 4 times, and had a total of 4 first downs.
It's just unbelievable.
Imploded.
I was high on Nebraska and I thought this was going to be their year because they blew too many games the same way last year.
Yeah.
They shot themselves in the foot. They had so many close games. Here they are again doing the same freaking thing, and just I don't know. I don't hate Scott Frost the way a lot of Michigan fans do.
How can you hate him? He sucks.
Well, I just mean because of the whole when he was the quarterback. Was he a quarterback at Nebraska?
Yeah.
So like, that doesn't bother me at all. But it's just like, man, like it's just not working. And this is one of the biggest blunders of coaching hires that there ever has been.
It's not good. The man's seat is hot. So let's get to this quick little snippet here. So after that loss, Scott Frost is now 15-30 at Nebraska. Bo Pelini was fired after going 67-27. If Scott Frost wins his next 50 games in a row, he would still have a worse record at Nebraska at 65-30 than Bo did.
That's unreal. I love that stat. That makes me so happy.
So
like that's I love little things like that just make no sense, but it just it's so fun.
I mean, you stick a fork in this guy, right?
I mean, I don't know. I think he could right the ship. I'm not going to give up on him, and I'll probably lose a lot of money doing that because I'm going to bet on them, and I feel like I'm set up. Another thing that I thought was interesting about that, and I didn't know this, but he was the special teams coach last year, and they basically told him that, all right, and I don't know who has the power to do this, but said, no, you got to hire a special teams coordinator and let him do it. And here they are making a boneheaded call like that. Who knows who made the official call? And I don't know if it'll ever come out. It feels like it'll be something like the kicker. If he has a certain read, he's allowed to do it, and he took his chance. I don't know, but it's just, oh my gosh. When you told me that on Sunday morning when I could finally focus, I was just like, what? I thought you were lying to me. I looked at you. I was like, no, you're lying. Like, it can't be true. And you're like, oh, yeah, it happened.
What a heck of, week 0 football, right?
Oh, gosh. I was looking forward to it, and I didn't watch any of it. I feel bad because I was pumping myself up for it, and then I was like, I got better things to do.
You pumped up yourself full of beer?
Yeah, I definitely did that.
Oh, yeah.
A little too much, but it's fine. I got through it. But Ryan, what do you want to talk about? You got the list of Lions cuts, right?
Yeah, I do, and I'm not sure the best way to do this, but I think there's some major names in here, and we might as well just kind of go through some major positional groups and the names that people are familiar with.
Yeah, let's do it.
So at the quarterback position, after the last preseason game, I don't think anybody's surprised. Tim Boyle was cut.
Oh, yeah, that was a disaster.
But who made the roster? David Blau. So there's already rumors that he's a possible cut candidate if the Lions want to go after a backup quarterback during this waiver series right now. So that's some of the news. I'll get into the rest of the positions, but overall my feeling is backup quarterback with this type of team. What are we trying to salvage? We're not trying to salvage middling of the pack or just like an improved season. If our quarterback goes down and Jared Goff gets injured, I want to lose as many games as possible to get the best draft pick possible to replace that quarterback with a number 1 draft selection.
Yep.
So I want to just hold David Blau, keep him on the team. He's a team guy, whatever locker room, he's going to work hard. I'm not looking to improve the backup quarterback situation now. I don't want to pay for that position. I don't want to trade for that position. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to trade for it or any way, shape, or form, improve in that way. But I think some of the other quarterbacks that were waived are more intriguing to me personally. Ian Book is an interesting one. Don't love the guy. Never really have out of Notre Dame, but it's like he was the one out of Notre Dame, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's kind of intriguing because he played a few games last year, if I remember correctly. So
Carson Strong.
He looked really. Yeah, Carson Strong's another one who was undrafted this year, right?
Yeah, out of Nevada.
Yeah, I mean those are the guys that I'm just like, we know what Blau is, and you never know if you bring this guy in and something might click the way that you're running the offense. Now, do I think you can find a quarterback that's going to win you an NFL game on the waiver wire? No, I don't. But then I also hear other people talking about it well, what if Goff gets hurt in the second half? Let's say the Lions go out, beat Philly, and then are up in the second half 17-10 against Washington week 2. And it's like, I wish we had a quarterback that could at least finish this game. It's not a long-term injury, but Goff's out for the game. We need somebody to salvage this. Now we're just going to be panicking trying to get this second one. You know what I mean? Where it's like I would like to see an upgrade from Blau for that particular reason, but also a guy that knows the offense, knows what's going on, whether it's good or not. He's probably still our best chance to salvage a game like that in that type of moment, at least here week 1, week 2.
Yeah, and I think the locker room has a lot to do with this. If the locker room thinks that Blau is a good enough backup quarterback, keep him. If he's lost the locker room and there's chatter about like, this guy's terrible, like our best quarterback is Goff and it's not even close. If he goes down, we're screwed. I could see how you want to keep the locker room engaged and play the part as a coach to make things as competitive as possible.
Yep.
That's the only situation I can see. I don't care. Those situations with quarterbacks don't happen very often. I think it's very important to have a good backup quarterback if you are a competitive football team and you expect to be competitive.
Yep.
If you're a Peyton Manning led team or a Tom Brady led team, then I think get a veteran guy that can just keep the momentum of the team going for the time being until your star quarterback is ready to compete for a Super Bowl again.
Yep.
That's not us.
No, I agree completely. Another thing that I thought about with the Blau, and I was thinking it through a couple, really last week, was the Lions' schedule. And you look at some of the quarterbacks that they're going to be facing, they're going to be going against Jalen Hurts. Look, I mean, I'm not going to say Blau is a dual threat quarterback, but he has the shiftiness and the ability on the ground that he can at least mimic a guy like Jalen Hurts a little bit more than, let's say, a Boyle could do. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of those type of quarterbacks that we're going to be facing throughout the season. So I think if he can run a scout team that helps us, our defense, see what it's going to be like against, the teams that we're playing, I think that's a good thing, a good thing to have, I guess.
Yeah, no, I see that. Again, let's stop talking about backup quarterback because I don't care anymore.
I'm done with it, right?
Right?
We're done.
There's so much chatter around the Lions sports talk about backup quarterback.
Come on,
it's
let's do it for the next hour.
Right.
All
Well,
right.
I'm wondering if Boyle's going to go back to Green Bay.
He
I
might.
heard that they released a quarterback too.
Yeah, they released Danny Etling. I mean, he was kind of like that young, fun kind of guy who just kind of played with that, relentless type attitude. But I mean, he got cut. I mean, all we did was kept 2 quarterbacks. I think most teams are keeping just 2 quarterbacks.
They should. I'm glad we didn't waste another roster spot on a second quarterback, like a second backup quarterback.
Third, yeah.
Yeah, third
right.
like we have like the last couple years.
Yeah,
but.
I agree.
right.
Out of the running back position, this is definitely a topic to talk about. But Justin Jackson, really the star of the preseason out of that running back group, cut. Justin Jackson out.
Okay, so I have not looked at this at all, so
right.
I'm surprised by that.
Godwin Igwebuike, cut.
Whoa.
Jamar Jefferson made the roster.
Jamar did over Jackson.
Jefferson was the one that made it. And out of the preseason games, he probably had the least eye-popping stats out of all of them. He didn't necessarily contribute in the return game at all, but he was very strong in his coverage skills in special teams.
And when the game that he got the bulk of the carries, he looked last year before I think he hurt his hip or something like that, right? He looked actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, he looked.
I mean,
he scored on a touchdown, right?
Yeah,
Or he got injured on the touchdown.
Huge run. I think it was against the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
So I just look at it makes more sense. Like if you lose a DeAndre Swift, that's the guy that can maybe fill that type of role, more shifty, right? Is that fair to say?
He's supposed to be the one that has better vision. I would say
Okay.
Justin Jackson was the shiftier, proven guy that's going to maybe explode through the hole a little bit better.
Okay.
He actually got some reps as a starter in last year's season.
For the Chargers?
Yeah, for the Chargers before getting injured then. But yeah, just a little bit of surprise just because when you look at the stats, the running, the rushes, the yards and everything, he would have been the last person you would keep.
Yeah.
Again, this is not a running back, in my opinion, as a 4th running back, so they only kept 4, which is a little surprising.
Yeah, so it's obviously Swift, Williams, Reynolds,
number 3,
and then
Jefferson number 4.
Okay.
But I think this is a very strong play for special teams, and that was the goal out of this. Wide receivers. Tom Kennedy was cut. Khalil Pimpleton was cut.
Yep.
Out of Central.
Yeah.
Maurice Alexander, the one that everybody wanted
was
as a return
cut.
man, he was cut.
Okay.
Trinity Benson, he was an injured cut player, so that means that we cannot take back Trinity Benson through the whole year. So if you place a guy on the putt basically and who's injured and you cut him before the 53-man roster being made, then you're not allowed to bring him back.
And you can't put him on your practice squad.
You can't put him on your practice squad. You cannot.
And that
you
was,
cannot sign him for the rest of
the
the season.
That was the one that they gave up a 5th-round pick for a 7th and him.
Yes.
Right? With Denver.
Yes.
So interesting to see them kind of give up on that over them, and that means Cephas made it. I'm guessing.
Yep. Quintez Cephas.
Okay.
I should have. Sorry.
No. Sorry, I don't mean to. I was just trying to. But yeah, keep going on maybe some of the wide receivers, or was that? I mean the with Pimpleton and Alexander gone, those were your kind of guys that you were thinking maybe are return guys. So who do you think does the returning?
That's a good question. It could be Reynolds actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a guy that we see returning those. It could be Khalif Raymond. Obviously, it could be kick and punt.
Which
maybe mostly punt.
Like I don't put a lot of. I look at special like kick returns and punt returns as like just don't screw up, don't hold, don't fumble. Everything else like is just positive in my opinion.
I would say coverage is more important. Right?
Yeah. No, I think that's true.
Side of
like
things.
yeah, you can get a guy that breaks for 1 or 2 a year, but I'd rather just. I don't know, like just don't get a 15-yard holding penalty or whatever it is, and or block in the back that just screws up field position that way.
Yeah, so we actually kept only 5 wide receivers. There was a lot of speculation that we were going to get 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So we obviously the list is DJ Chark, Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Quintez Cephas and Khalif Raymond. Those are the 5.
Okay. All right. Kennedy was one that people were keeping an eye on because he performed pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
And it's just weird. Like, I don't know if any of these guys are going to go have good careers anywhere, but I feel like we're starting to drop players that might get picked up. And that's the hard part. Like, when you see guys like, oh, do we really want to get rid of him? He's just going to go get picked up and have a great career. That's actually a good problem to have.
Yeah, and I think also with those 3 guys that were cut, not Trinity Benson, obviously, because we can't get him back, but with Khalil Pimpleton, with sorry, I'm
Kennedy.
Yeah, Tom Kennedy.
Yeah.
I feel like if one of those guys gets picked up, we can put the other one on the practice squad.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst thing in the world to maybe protect him for a few different weeks out of the year, protect him so that nobody else can pick him up out of the practice squad. But if you there's 2 sides of it. If you build enough depth, then those are the guys that other teams are going to steal from. Mm-hmm. But then if you can, out of that pool of players that people are stealing from, if you feel confident in the majority of them or multiples, then at least one of them is going to stick around for your practice squad. So I think the more depth, the better, obviously, and we're seeing that this year a little bit. Another surprise, we kept 4 tight ends. So we kept T.J. Hawkinson, Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, and James Mitchell, the rookie.
Zylstra did make it.
He did.
Okay.
All 4 of them.
Wow.
So some of this might be because Jason Kambinda is on the pup
list,
he's going to be out for 4 weeks at least. And so a guy like Shane Zylstra or even James Mitchell might fill in the fullback role.
Interesting.
And maybe a lot of 2 tight end sets.
4 tight ends. Well, I mean, if you're going to pound the ball, and we had to use some extra offensive linemen last year to run the ball the way they wanted to, because we didn't have tight ends that were worth a dang for anything. So it was like, all right, just put an extra offensive lineman out there. Well, if you can get a tight end that can be a little bit of both and run a true offense, that's a good problem to have, right? I mean, that 4 seems like a lot, but if you told me today or like at the beginning of camp that we were going to keep 4 tight ends, there would be no question in my mind. Funches would make it over Zylstra. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the one that's a little surprising to me, but it is what it is. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Out of that list, though, can you think of somebody who was cut out of the top of your mind?
For the tight ends?
Yeah, tight ends.
Funches.
Yeah, Devin
is
Funches.
the one that,
which was cut a little bit early, but we kind of knew that was going to happen. It might be injury related a bit too because
he did get hurt.
Yeah, they didn't put him on any kind of pup list or anything. So yeah, it's hard to say. Hopefully, I'm hoping he's one of those guys that gets to the practice squad. We keep him around for a bit, and then see if he can turn into one of those pass catching ones.
No, I agree.
Offensive line, the real, did release Dan Skipper, Kendall Lamb. Those were kind of some obvious names that we saw. A big storyline in Hard Knocks has been Easy.
Yeah,
following him. He was cut.
He was cut. I thought that was pretty obvious that was going to happen.
Yeah, and then Darren Paulo. Those are really the key linemen offensive
Okay.
lineman.
But they kept. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the guy's name that they were talking about. Maybe was a cut can.
Yeah, Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson. Which I'm
Yeah.
glad that we kept. I think that was a good keep. I think he's very flexible, that he can play pretty much anywhere on the line.
Yeah,
So-
we kept Evan Brown, Tommy Kramer, Matt Nelson. Those are some pretty good, decent backups. And then
We're gonna
a
go sign
real
Alex Leatherwood, right?
a real strong up and coming guard that's been crushing it the last couple of weeks. Has been a star on Pro Football Focus for weeks 2 and 3 of the preseason. Logan Stenberg.
Logan Stenberg, and that's important. I forget where he was drafted, but I remember or was he undrafted?
No, he was a 3rd-round pick.
Was
a
he?
back-to-back pick. We got
When we-
Jonah Jackson,
Jonah
and
Jackson.
then Logan Stenberg.
Yeah.
Maybe 4th round. Maybe
Yeah.
the first pick of 4th round or something. Yeah, so no.
Glad
no
to see him
huge
make, because people were
surprises.
talking about him not making it.
Yeah, and he really stepped up as a run blocker specifically, but he's been consistent both sides, so
Nice.
that was good. Defensive line, the biggest name that made the team, Demetrius Taylor, made it. So this is the only undrafted free agent that made the 3-man squad.
Demetrius Taylor.
Number 69, I want to say.
I can't tell you who he is.
He's a smaller, undersized dude out of Appalachian State.
Okay.
And he has been crushing it this offseason. Like, he has been an absolute star of the preseason. He's causing pressure from the inside, like, on a play-by-play basis.
Yeah.
He's quick. He's strong. He was an absolute disruptor at the college level, but because he played at Appalachian State and he's undersized, people just kind of didn't give him any credit.
Yeah.
And he's a player, man. He's good.
You
He's
say
shifty.
is he DE or is he a interior?
Interior guy.
Okay,
Yeah,
which is
Demetrius Taylor.
We're very thin at that. We need to get some more depth there.
Yeah, and then John Kaminsky is the other one that made the squad.
Okay.
Yep. So those are the two names I think that were on pretty much on like the potential cut list. Isaiah Buggs also made the squad. I'll find the cuts here pretty soon. Bruce Hector, interior defensive lineman. We cut him. Sorry, I'm going along with this. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm actually really enjoying it. 'Cause I can
We
actually-
waived Eric Banks, defensive lineman, who did show up at a couple of those games. Jay Sean Cornell, who out of Ohio State. I think we were hopeful that he would come back and do something. He's been injured for a long time. Those two guys, Eric Banks and Cornell, are in the same position as Trinity Benson. He was hurt. We cut him, so the Lions cannot roster him this
Okay.
year. So no major surprises there, except we kept a couple of guys that were maybe on the bubble. Linebackers. This is something that
yeah.
this is kind of a bigger one. Jared Davis. We cut him.
Well, so he was a first round pick by the Lions a long time ago. We let
6
him go,
seasons.
and then
Yeah.
he came back, didn't make the team.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, he didn't
I
earn
don't
it.
think it almost felt like they knew that from the beginning. He was playing late in preseason games. He didn't really have a great chance to make the team, at least from what we saw. It seemed like the writing was on the wall for him. And I don't know. I think he would have been a good veteran to have, but at the same time, I don't think that's worth keeping with where this team's at.
He just doesn't have the feel.
And
He
he's
doesn't
not
have
a
the feel.
special teams guy that's going to go out and, you know what I mean? Like, if we can take somebody else that'll perform on both sides, you know, that's more important.
He's big, he's strong, he's actually pretty fast for his size too. He just doesn't have the football instincts that you think a guy like that would.
Yeah.
Especially being a first rounder, you expect that to come with instincts. He just doesn't have it.
Never draft a Florida guy again. On defense, at
Anthony
least.
Pittman was a little surprise to me. I thought he had a pretty good chance based on the way he finished last season. And then that's really it for the linebackers. I guess James Houston. So he was more of an edge rusher. We drafted him 6th round.
He didn't make the team.
He got cut.
So he was the one that off of Dion's team, right?
Yeah, he's the Dion dude.
The problem, is that what they called him?
Yep.
So he didn't make it.
He made a little bit of noise early in camp.
He might be one, like, I don't think anybody's going to pick him up. He will be one that you keep on your practice squad.
I hope so.
And see if you can develop.
I hope we invest in this guy and keep him around for a little while. So that means that linebacker group is consisting of Chris Board, Alex Anzalone, Josh Woods, Derek Barnes, and Malcolm Rodriguez.
Derek Barnes had a really good game.
Yeah.
He's starting to
Derek Barnes is showing
figure it
up.
out. I'm excited.
Rodrigo too.
The linebacking core I don't think really played much as a group in the preseason. I feel like it was one of the biggest questions heading into camp, and we don't have the answers because we know nothing other than Rodriguez had a good camp and is exciting. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're not showing us anything, telling us much.
I think you look at Chris Board, Alex Anzalone, and Rodrigo, those 3 guys can cover.
Yeah.
So
that's important.
Yeah, they can be the cover linebacker and also, be physical enough to get in there and hit some guys. But then you got Derek Barnes, who seems more like an enforcer with some speed, and remember, he's a defensive end pass rusher in college. So this is a guy that likes to use his hands and is really crafty at shedding blocks.
Yeah.
I think this group is going to be better than people expect.
I hope so. They need to be.
Cornerbacks. Chase Lucas made the team. Bobby Price made the team. Will Harris made the team as backups. Mike Hughes, Jeff Okuda, Amani Owaria are the starters. That means that the cut list...
Jacobs?
A.J. Parker was cut. Savion Smith was cut. Cedric Boswell was cut. Those guys were just getting lit up there later in the games. But also, man, I'm searching. Oh, Jerry Jacobs was placed on the PUP. So they were hoping he'd be ready game 1, game 2 maybe, but they just ran out of time. He wasn't fully ready. This is Dan Campbell's way of just freeing up a 53-man roster spot for him.
Which he was an undrafted free agent last year. Kind of came on and performed decent. Not good, not terrible, but I mean, for what he was the number 1 performing undrafted free agent out of all rookies last year. Yeah.
So he performed pretty well. But I think A.J. Parker was the bigger deal. He started a lot of games for us last year in the slot, and so this is putting our trust in Hughes.
Yeah.
A little bit in the slot there, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
And then when Jerry Jacobs comes back, he can take that role if needed. Almost done here. Sorry, safeties. We kept a lot of safeties. There's really no one worth talking about except C.J. Moore. He was the big cut candidate there, and he's another waived injured guy, so we're not going to get him back on the team. He finished pretty strong on the team last year. I liked him. He's kind of a team guy, but
I think we have better guys there.
We've invested in some other talent there, in the likes of Tracy Walker, Deshaun Elliott as the starters, and the backups Kirby Joseph, Juju Hughes. Juju Hughes was the standout all preseason.
Yep. And Kirby Joseph was it felt like a steal in this draft.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to.
And Iffy Melifatu, who is kind of converting almost full time from cornerback over to safety.
Which is funny because you got the other guy, Will Harris, going from safety to corner.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They just switched spots.
That's pretty good.
And then the last thing I wanted to bring up is just the kicking battle. So Riley Patterson was cut.
Okay, so
which means Austin Seibert is our field goal.
And he was the one that
kicker.
Finished the year last year with us, right? Riley Patterson. Patterson was the one that finished the year.
Yeah,
it's so confusing.
They were both pretty consistent.
Yeah,
they've been consistent the whole time. I think Seibert's got the bigger leg, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the game-winning 55-yarder.
Okay.
The PUP list guys are the Jason Kabinda, Romeo Okwara, Jerry Jacobs, Josh Pascal, Jameson Williams, and So
when these guys get activated from the PUP, that means you have to release a guy or two.
Yeah, so Juju Hughes, some of those guys that we've talked about are on the bubble still. They're still fighting for that roster spot.
Be interesting to see. And I can't wait to get into the Lions talk next week a little bit more. Previewing the season. There's
that was
gonna
long-winded, I know.
It was good. And honestly, I almost put Lions here as a topic today, but I'm like, we got Michigan State, Michigan football to go. So, like, when you were like, all right, we want to talk Lions in this flight, I'm like, please do, because, like, we can't not talk about it, right? Like, we have to talk about it. So, Mike, I know you were just loving it, right?
You guys were killing it. Good job.
Thanks, man.
You guys did great.
Ryan should say thanks, because I agree. I thought you killed it. But ready to roll, John? Yeah?
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
We got a comment from Jarrett. He said, live from the Pitbull concert at Van Andel Arena. It's ready to start. He's got Miller Lite Ice Cold, rating 9.9. He said, good luck tonight, boys, recording. Good time. And then we got somebody watching it. What does that say? Guwop McLeod is watching. What's up, Guwop? Is that how you say it? Guwop? G-U?
Glad you're here.
W-O-P? Is that how you would say it? Guwop?
Phonetically? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks, man. Share us with your friends. Help us grow our audience. We're jumping into the Michigan State Spartans. We're going to do Michigan State first because that's only fair. So last year, Michigan State finished the season 11-2 with losses to Purdue and Ohio State and beat Pitt in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Along with a successful overall season, they beat their biggest rival, Michigan, and Tucker is now 2-0 versus the Wolverines. They finished 7-2 in conference, and if they were able to take care of business against Purdue, they more than likely would have represented the Big Ten East in the championship game. Mel Tucker had an incredible year 2 at MSU after going 2-5 overall in the COVID season. He put MSU back on the map, gained a ton of traction as a legitimate coach in college football, and earned a 10-year, $95 million contract, along with a $1.5 million raise for his coaching salary pool, which now sits at $7.5 million, which is really an incredible foundation to set. When you're paying your coaches, you're getting paid, you're setting a foundation, and that should be really exciting for Spartan fans. Talk a little bit about the betting side of things. MSU is plus 12,000 to win the national championship. They have the 7th best odds to win the Big Ten at plus 2,800 behind Minnesota, who's plus 25, Iowa plus 18, Penn State plus 13, Wisconsin plus 1,000, Michigan plus 650, and OSU minus 215 to win the Big Ten. Their over-under wins is over 7.5 wins is at minus 130, and then under the 110 or under 7.5 wins, is at plus 110. So, yeah, we also got another comment from Bob Karen. Agree, Miller Lite 9.9, having one on the deck and watching. My dad's on vacation tonight. So he's pumped. He said he's not going to turn us off and fall asleep. So I don't know if that was a compliment or
he's going to keep us on and fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. So he's probably got his Oculus on the deck too, just listening. Let's be honest. No. Key subtractions. I think we'll kind of move through here and then jump in when you guys want to. Obviously, the big one is Kenneth Walker. You also have Jalen Naylor and Jacob Panashuk are the 3 biggest names I think that left for the NFL. Walker, obviously a high-end draft pick. Naylor drafted in the 6th round by the Vikings, and Panashuk was an undrafted free agent signed by Washington. I think he was released. I actually don't have that in front of me for sure, but I'm pretty sure he got released over the point here. He was the leader of the defense, a game-breaking speedster at wide receiver, and a guy who should have been a Heisman finalist. Are not easy to replace for anybody. Naylor had some yards, basically is what I was going to try to say. Pretty good career overall. I mean, almost 1,500 yards in his career, 12 touchdowns. Last year he had six touchdowns, just under 700 yards, which was a big piece of what the offense did, I think, for Michigan State.
I don't think the stats really don't tell the story.
I agree with that. Nope, I think that's a good point.
There's a guy that battled injuries all throughout his college career, and it was clearly a speedster and a game breaker that they were hoping to have at all times, and it just never seemed to always be available.
Yep.
But last year he did have his biggest year, 695 yards, 6 touchdowns. So the game-breaking speed was always there when he was on the field.
Yep, for sure. And then obviously Kenneth Walker, incredible season last year. For his 1 year at Michigan State, he had 1,600-plus yards on 263 attempts, 18 touchdowns with a 94-yard was his longest. That's a 6.2 average, 136.3 average yards per game. Incredible numbers.
Stud.
And he deserved to be at the Heisman ceremony, in my opinion. I wouldn't say because over Hutchinson, but like too many quarterbacks were there that obviously weren't going to win. I think you got to spread the wealth a little bit more there. But I mean, they got a lot to fill. But I think what Tucker did from year 1 to year 2, I think he's got the job ready here. So we'll kind of go there now. Let's start with the quarterback previewing the offense. Is that cool with you guys, or do you got more to say
jump
there?
right into it.
Kick it.
In my opinion, probably one of the least concerning positions here. It's Peyton Thorne's job, no question. And just he's the proven leader of the offense. I think with what Kenneth Walker did, they were able to put the spotlight on somewhere else, but he's still seriously a good leader. He doesn't go out there and like win crazy games, like make incredible plays and stuff, and he does make those mistakes, but he's got this short memory that I think a lot of quarterbacks don't have at his age and in college football, that he just doesn't care. He just moves on, and he'll make that same throw, and this next time he'll make it after he makes that mistake. You know what I mean? Like, he's not afraid to try that exact same throw again and kind of go away from it. You know what I mean?
He definitely battles.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? Like, he always comes back in these games. He keeps them close. And we saw that against Pitt in the bowl game. You know, they weren't playing a Pitt team that with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Yep.
But this defense was legit last year. They were really good. Pitt's defense.
Oh yeah.
And I saw somebody making a comment about Peyton Thorne and coming back and how good he is and how he tore up the Pitt defense. No, you were not watching that game then because the stats were there, but it was chaos at the end that brought them back in. But that's the fight that I think is a really great thing out of Peyton Thorne. He's very athletic.
Yeah.
He's got a big arm. He had some games where the ball was not coming out of his hand right.
I would agree with that.
And
when he's under duress, he can look uncomfortable. That's a very, I would say, concerning thing. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't know. Go ahead. You'll word it better than I will.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's cold. I don't know if it's when he tries to rush through his mechanics because he does have a live arm, so he's got a little bit of a. He's got a little bit of a hitch, which most quarterbacks do, no problem. But it might be one of those things where if that timing is off a little bit, it starts to wobble out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something you kind of grow out of, or at least you hope to grow out of. I don't expect that kind of performance. I'm actually really high on Peyton Thorne. I think he's one of the bright spots of the team.
It seems to happen when people are on their feet, their quarterback's feet, and they're getting happy feet, if you will. That's when their hands start, and it comes out weird. Sorry, Mike.
No. I wanted to jump back. When you make mention of live arm, what do you mean by that? For me, for a lot of the listeners, what do you mean, live arm?
It doesn't take long for it to move 30 yards downfield, right?
I would say the better way of explaining it is like when a quarterback, especially when you're on the move, and your arm gets stuck in a spot, like you're trying to run, but then you get stuck in your mechanics and you just throw like a little duck. It doesn't go anywhere. David Blau throws does not have a live arm. Like, it looks like he's a lot of effort trying to throw the ball down the field, and the front end goes down like this, and it just doesn't really go anywhere. It's the opposite. He's free. He can be moving to his left, moving to his right. No matter what, he'll always have enough zip on the ball wherever he wants to throw it.
Yep.
So that's never a concern.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, live arm, right? Like, you can throw from any position. Mahomes, live arm. I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's more of a feeling.
Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Stafford's got one of the
best
live
arms.
No, but I mean, when you can have a quarterback coming back who threw 27 touchdowns the year before, he had 10 picks, but, man, 27 touchdowns is a pretty good number. Yeah, it's not the 50 or whatever that these Heisman candidates do, but, man, combine that with a good running game, like, you got a threat offense. You got a very, very good offense.
I think that would be the Michigan record.
27? No.
I think it's close. It's either 27 or 28. I think it's the all-time record for Michigan.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. You got Noah Kim trending to be the number 2, but is being pushed by the true freshman, 4-star out of California, Caden Hauser. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. I don't think we'll ever see it. I don't think we're that worried about it. It'll just be
I like Hauser in that one.
If he has to, Thorne has to set out a driver or two or a player or two, who they bring in will be interesting. Something to keep an eye on. Obviously, the big loss was Kenneth Walker. Running back room, you think huge drop off, but it seems like they just jumped into the transfer portal and got some big names. They got Jarek Broussard, was terrific back out of Colorado in 2020 and did what he could in a rough situation in 2021. Then you got Jalen Berger, I don't know how you'd say that, super recruit basically out of Wisconsin who didn't work out, but the talent is there. It feels like if someone's going to be a Kenneth Walker, that's the guy that could jump in and do it because of how highly recruited he was and all of that. But, I mean, just a few good backs. They'll also be joined by Harold Joyner, who is a transfer out of Auburn. Jordan Simmons, Elijah Collins, obviously complete the rotation, who've been there for a while. What do you think about the running back room?
I think they're really deep.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of options here. Are any one of them going to be Kenneth Walker? No, I don't expect.
And that's a very unfair to say that it's even possible.
We didn't think Kenneth Walker would be Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was this time last year.
We knew he was going to be good, but like to expect somebody to be a Heisman candidate coming into a new team, learning a new system, you just can't rely on that year after year. So
Yeah.
is this team going to be Kenneth Walker? No. Are they super good? Are they really deep? Yeah, I'm a big fan of this running back room.
It's getting back to more what Michigan State's known for, is a couple guys that are exploding on the scene and having a very good year, not a Heisman Trophy year. I mean, I don't know if they've ever had a Heisman Trophy winner or candidate at the running back room. I'm sure they have that I can't think of. But, like, this is back to what Michigan State's been doing, is having multiple guys that can do it, that can punch you in the mouth. It's this guy's drive. Now it's this guy's drive. If you have a couple guys that you can trust to do that, I mean, that's getting back to the more Michigan State mantra, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, would you rather have Kenneth Walker? Yeah. But, I mean, it's a good thing to
Not the
have
option.
this
I think
extra
Jared
draft.
Broussard
or
is
depth.
a watch out for him. He's going to be the Kenneth Walker type in this to potentially replace him. But even the guys that you mentioned, third and fourth, Jordan Simmons and Elijah Collins, we know they're good.
Yeah.
Elijah Collins led this team 2 years ago. We were expecting big things from him last year, or maybe the year before. I don't know. He's been on the team for forever.
Yeah.
Simmons has been a backup for 4 years at this point too. So again, super deep. I like it.
Guys that you can trust to give the ball to. I don't know. I think the biggest question for me when it comes to the running back room is, did Kenneth Walker make that offensive line look better than they are? And that's what I want to kind of get into next, is the offensive line, who we know have their struggles and all of that, and the depth's not there either. And it's just that's the one that's going to be curious, because Kenneth Walker absolutely dominated games, no matter if the offensive line was doing their job or not, it seemed like. And that's where I wonder if these guys are going to be more or less like, they need the offensive line to really kind of find that groove, get that push, and kind of, set the tone for on the ground here. One of the biggest questions of the team is definitely the offensive line. Spartans have five or six, I think, experienced players, they said, in our call I found. But the second unit is untested and unproven, and the returning group has been proven to be kind of vulnerable, I would say. Jarrett Horst at left tackle is coming back. You got J.D. Duplain. Is that his name? I'm so bad with names. I don't even know why I try.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Nick Samick. I just can't. Somebody
yeah,
else
both
read
are right.
it. Yeah?
No, both are right. Yeah, go.
And
Keep
then
going.
Matt Carrick, right tackle, Spencer Brown. And then with Washington State transfer Brian Green, I got that one right, filling in at center guard. So, I mean, I'm sure when you're a Spartan fan, you know these guys inside and out. You're confident because you have returners. That's always so important when it comes to offensive line. You have a unit. That's something that you can truly build on. But I just feel like they were so vulnerable at times. I wouldn't be confident in it. But, I mean, if you guys see something that I don't, I mean, tell me. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about the O-line.
I don't think it's as big of concern as are they going to be leading the nation and being great? No, I don't think they're at any risk of winning an award for being an offensive line. But the team is old enough, they're experienced enough, and they are at least proven enough to be a unit. And so the more you work with your unit, especially at this kind of an age in college, like some of them are 5th and 6th year guys. So they're going to be big and strong for their age, playing up against some young, quick talent and all that. But the more you stay in college, the better you are. So I think this, we kind of touched on it a little bit last week. They're only going to be better than they were last year, which isn't saying a whole lot, but it's less of a question mark than last year. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I mean, I think it's a middling of the pack offensive line, which can pair pretty well if you get a creative offense with a talented quarterback and a really good deep running back room.
Micah, anything?
Nope.
All right, moving on to the wide receiving room. John, how's your draft going over there?
Not good.
No?
No.
Did it auto draft everything? You're trying to figure out how to restart?
It auto-drafted me, yeah.
Just for you?
Yeah.
Even though you were there?
Yeah, I had the draft room open on the app, and then I also had our draft settings open on a web browser, and I went back into the app, closed the web browser, went back in the app, and it said, I was watching the clock. It said 18 minutes left. I watched it go down. Phone's been on the charger. It said 3 minutes until draft time. I opened up the player queue, and it picked the first 3 draft picks of the night already, and already picked for me.
Oh.
Jonathan Taylor, and then CeeDee Lamb, and then somebody else, and it's just what in the heck?
Dang.
I left the draft room the 4th time, came back in. I was able to put players in the queue, but
Dang.
I had already had like 5 draft picks, no quarterbacks yet. It's
No
just like,
quarterbacks. You're like, that's
yeah.
where you're going to – who went for number 1 overall?
Josh Allen. I wanted Herbert.
Yeah.
Like, I would have picked either one of those 2 guys. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure it out and let you guys take over.
Yeah, that really sucks. Wide receiving room. Look, obviously replacing Naylor is someone that it's tough. But when you start going over the names and you're bringing back a guy like Jayden Reid, who is the main piece and a true NFL talent, that's where you can confidently say that this offense or this wide receiving room will be just fine. You also got Trey Mosely, who I think could have he started coming on towards the end of the year and really became a mismatch, I think, for a lot of the teams that they were playing. Starting off with Jayden Reid, 10 touchdown receptions last season, as well as with over 1,000 receiving yards on 59 receptions, all of which led the team in 2021. He also led the Big Ten and was tied for the college football lead with 2 punt returns for a touchdown and adding a rushing touchdown as well. Dude's a stud, and the combination of Thorne
really
to Reid is definitely that's a threat that teams need to be aware for. Now Trey Mosely, redshirt junior, was solid with 35 catches, three for touchdowns and 530 yards, which ranked 3rd on the Spartans in all 3 categories. Like I said, kind of came on late, but was a mismatch. Physical guy that can just he'll get his nose in there, and he'll take on a hit. He'll deliver the punishment. So starting with those 2 guys, what do you think about the returners of this wide receiving room?
I think Jayden Reid is really a stud. He's a guy that gets open at will, and then that contested catch ability is really what leads this team and can really bail out Peyton Thorne in a lot of different tough situations.
And obviously, I'm going to bring up the Michigan game. Obviously, what Kenneth Walker did is that to Michigan with 5 touchdowns. That was the dagger, but there were so many clutch catches. There was a couple. I think Jayden Reid had one. I think it was actually Trey Mosely had another one. That was just massive plays for Michigan State that kept the game close when it looked like it could have got out of hand. Jayden Reid, man, that guy. I wish he was. That's a guy that everybody wants.
We wanted to draft him. He was one of the before he decided to come back. We were talking about him being maybe a sleeper choice, middle of the rounds for Lions to go target him and for a wide receiver. Yeah. He's tough. He also plays through stuff. And then I think Trey Mosely just really complements him really well because of his speed, a little bit more of that dynamic or what you would prototypical body for a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. So the combination of the shorter routes over the middle for Reid and then the outside play of Trey Mosely. But I think Jayden Reid's also that outside guy too. So they are really good together. Yep. I don't think there's going to be any problem. And then, new guys. I don't know if you want to go through those.
Well, real quick, you got Foster, who's a junior, Coleman, who's a sophomore, and Terry Lockett Jr. are also 3 returning guys. But the new guys are interesting. So you got Jeremy, I think. Jeremy Bernard, who was an early enrollee. He was a 4-star. That is, I've heard 6 foot, I've heard 6'2", but he's 200 pounds with playmaking abilities out of Nevada. 38th ranked wide receiver in the country. Could make an impact year 1. Is what I'm hearing heading into through camp and stuff like that. People are really excited about him. You got Antonio Gates Jr. Comes in with high expectations. Of course, he was the son of all-pro tight end Antonio Gates. So he was ranked as a 4-star recruit by 24/7 Sports and could come in and make some plays. Terrell Henry was ranked as a top 20 player in the state of Michigan. He's got some potential, some speed to kind of fill that Naylor role, hopefully. Overall, it just seems like that they have, when you have a go-to guy and then guys that it's hard to say that they're going to complement him well. I think Mosely definitely does, and it's a massive question mark to see who will be that guy that steps up. So you got to have at least one guy that'll step up and be the number 2.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about it at all.
It seems like you have a bunch of guys that could be the number 2s and number 3s, but who's going to be that one that really starts separating himself as the number 2, I think, is important, and we'll learn that pretty quick here.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy Bernard, I think Tyrell Henry, I think a lot of these guys that could come in and make some immediate impact. All they need is one. All they need is one of them to make the impact, and then we can hold on to that young talent and groom him and make him, let them develop and everything. But this team is established enough. The wide receivers are established enough where it's not a group that you look at with a bunch of question marks. They lost one guy that was injured a lot last year. They're all set. They're going to be good.
Yeah, so overall thoughts on the offense. Obviously, I would say their weak link is the offensive line. That it's going to carry. It needs to carry a team.
It can hold them back in big situations.
Yeah.
That's something to watch out for.
I think that's a great way to say it. It can significantly hold them back, but if they are at all, let's say, better than average in the Big Ten, look out for this offense because it could come together quickly.
They're going to score points.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a team that's going to move the ball. Their offense is going to be very difficult to game plan against, especially with a mobile quarterback who's got an arm to throw downfield.
If the offensive line,
he can move, that's an X factor. Then you start playing this zone type of thing and just you push your guy wherever you want and let your quarterback, do what he does.
So did want to get in on some defense here last season. It was an odd one to say the least for their defense. On one hand, they led the Big Ten in sacks, and was second in tackles for loss, but they were dead last in college football, in pass defense. I feel like when you can't stop somebody from throwing, and I think the Purdue game is the perfect example. Everybody knew they were going to throw the ball. They knew who they were going to throw it to, and they could not be stopped. Yeah. That set them back so hard, and it kept them in. It kept games close that they probably shouldn't have kept close, and they escaped and won close games. Which, hats off, winning games. That's all you got to do. You don't have to apologize how you do it.
Builds character.
Yeah, but you're playing with fire, and can you do that back-to-back years? That's the tough part. They need to see significant improvement. Look, they're not going to – I would bet – I'm just going to go with the drinking out of a shoe thing because that's what we do. I'm not going to bet my house or anything. I will almost guarantee you – I will guarantee you they will not be dead last in college football in pass defense this year. I can almost –
They can't afford it. They can't afford it playing someone like Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think
really
they're
in the
going to be
Big Ten in general.
Well, yeah. Even if you think you have this great idea of going on to the college football playoff, those teams will tear you apart in the first half, and you won't be coming back anytime soon. You
can't have that and pretend it and try to contend for a conference championship in any league.
No.
Let alone the Big Ten. Defensive line, despite losing top pass rusher Jacob Panashuk and Drew Beasley, Chris Bogle is coming in from Florida, another transfer portal guy. To go on the other side of the second leading sacker, Jeff Pietrowski. Ends will be more than fine, especially around fantastic rotation at tackle. I think that's really the biggest thing are their tackles. They got some big dudes there. It sounds like they're deep there, along with some high-end talent. Ryan, what do you think about the defensive line? Any concerns heading into the year, or do you think the transfer portal kind of answer those questions for them?
I think this is a defensive line that is going to manhandle lesser talent around them, especially with Jacob Slade. They're a big group, just like they were last year. So this is not your prototypical defensive end speed guys that will just beat everybody around them. Like they're going to engage with their blockers and try to win on either side. They're going to have four up front. I think their linebackers are always going to be talented. Cal Halloway is a beast as a linebacker. Jacoby Winman, he should be pretty good as a middle linebacker there. I know they lost Crouch. He was a little bit of an underachiever there last year, even though he's a good athlete out of Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
I think this defense is going to be better than last year, just based on odds with their secondary.
Yeah.
But what worries me, and I always talk about like stuff I've talked about 2 years ago. But 2 years ago, Jamon Green got burned a lot from Michigan, and I know I'm bringing this up, but there's a difference with getting beat on plays with yards and receptions, and then there's a difference of getting like legitimately beat where physically you are unable to keep up or move around like you need to, lateral quickness and so forth. That was Michigan State last year. Their corners were not equipped to win those battles on a play-by-play basis. So they were beat all the time.
Yep.
And so that's tough as a safety, like where you're supposed to cover, where you're supposed to help. You can't put anybody on an island. And so that is where they need to – that's the biggest question mark. That's what they need to hope they've resolve some of those issues this year.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up the linebackers. I mean, the Crouch one is 75 tackles, I think, is what I found.
Yeah,
on paper it seems like a lot, but you have guys that are already ready to fill that.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
need.
He was a huge underachiever last year.
Halliday, you brought up, big playmaker. He kind of came out of nowhere in a lot of ways, right?
He's good, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that'll help the defensive line as well. I think that's one thing that I think that they're gonna do is they're gonna win that battle on the inside, right, and allow those linebackers to just go and make plays. And that's what they did last year at times, and I think they're gonna be ready to do that again.
Yeah.
Now getting pressure on a quarterback is another thing. I want to see it. But I mean, you can't say it can't happen.
Yeah, and
right?
if they get pressure from the inside, watch out. That's how Georgia beat everybody last year. Georgia did not beat anybody around the edges. They manhandled them up front. They pushed the whole pocket back altogether. Quarterbacks, that's tough. It's you're not taught how to get away from a whole line that's moving backwards.
Yeah, you're told to step up so the ends don't
exactly
get when you can't do that. No, I think it's going to be a work in progress as a whole. The defense, it'll be. When we see it, we'll know. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of like Ohio State in a lot of ways. It's like, yeah, I mean, it can't get much worse. They're gonna be better here, but why? Other than it just can't get worse. That's the hard part, right? And you want to see it. You want to see it against true talent. We're not gonna walk away against Western Michigan on Saturday or Friday and be like, well, that answers my questions. But I think Washington, after the Washington game, you'll know, because that's going to be other really good talent that you're going to see if they have what it takes on both sides of the trenches. I think it's going to become trenches.
Yeah.
Trenches are going to have to lead this team because you have playmakers elsewhere that are ready to make plays if given the chance.
Yeah. I expect these games to be exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we know that this is going to be an exciting team.
They're going to give up yards. The ball's going to move against them, and they're gonna move against other teams.
Yeah.
I think it could be a high-scoring season just overall. For
It'll be interesting because like with the way that they ran the ball last year, is everybody would think, well, they controlled the clock and did this and did that. They didn't really do that. They were a big strike team. It was ugly at times, then all of a sudden, boom, it would happen, and the defense was on the field quite a bit for a team that ran the ball as well as they did. It'll be interesting to see if those big plays kind of limit it a little bit and actually help the defense a little bit more. You know what I mean? Stay off the field, let them go through the rotation a little bit better, and can kind of control it that way. What's your biggest question for the team, though?
It's really going to be the play of the defensive backs.
Defensive backs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if they can contain wide receivers, the other team's passing game, I think if they can trust two cornerbacks on this team, their line up front and their linebackers are going to take care of business against rush.
What do you think about Amir Speed, the transfer out of Georgia? So
he's an improvement.
He's an improvement, but
I don't know enough.
He's
I'll be
4
honest.
years of being a depth guy at Georgia. I don't know if he's going to come in.
Pretty good place to be a depth guy.
No, I agree, but I mean, who were their corners last year?
You're right.
Like,
it's not like
it's not like Georgia dominated because their corners were
Kendrick was
shut
their best corner at the time. Well, really the guy this year.
and
but
their corners got exposed against Ohio State, or sorry, not Ohio State, but Alabama.
Yeah.
At times, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
It happens.
I don't want to hate it on it, but it's like if that's who you're considering to be your savior, that's what I'm interested to see.
Yeah, but we could have said the same thing about like a DJ Turner last year for Michigan. If you have to rely on a guy that is completely unproven, what do you have? It's like, well, you might have a good cornerback.
I think we did say that heading into the year. Like that was a concern for Michigan last year, right?
He stepped up to the plate.
Yeah. I'm not saying I was okay. I was just asking what you know about him. I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth or anything.
Yeah, don't do that, man.
Whatever.
I went sideways quickly.
Anyways.
You want to fight?
No, I'm not in the mood to fight.
Yeah, my left shoulder hurts.
Get in some. Oh, maybe I am. No, you'd still kill me. Get into some player stuff here. Who would you consider a breakout player for Michigan State? I didn't. Do you see that I cut the list down a lot? I mean, you guys still didn't.
Oh, did you have it?
I only had
appreciate
3.
that. That's good.
I only had 3 player things to talk about here.
Oh,
I got a breakout player.
All right.
I'm going to go with Jacoby Winman out of UNLV, transferred here, linebacker. They're going to expect a lot out of the linebackers. I mean, the way you look at the defense, what we were just talking about, they're going to try and use a lot more speed, and Jacoby's got a lot of speed. And I think what he's done so far at UNLV is going to translate well to what Mel Tucker's trying to do at Michigan State. So that's my breakout player.
Yeah, I was going to go with the running back position. So I would consider that Jarek Broussard or Jalen Berger. I'm going to go with Broussard, though, because I think he's going to lead this team. If you look at stats, and Jarrett was bringing this up last week, if you look at his stats and what he did in limited playing time, the stats stand out. And the physical ability can also stand out. So I think with this team, with the schemes that allowed Kenneth Walker to go nuts last year, will at least put him in position to break out if the talent is there. So, break out.
Nice. Then who do you guys think will be the MVP for the Michigan State Spartans?
I was going to say Jalen Berger.
Yeah?
Yep.
I think Jayden Reid. Jayden Reid for me is the key guy, and Peyton Thorne is probably the most important player, but he can't do it without Jayden Reid.
All right. So for the team, our expectations, for setting the floor, I went with 6-6, and I know that's kind of a hater mentality that some people might have, but let's just say losses with 2 Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are reasonable when talking about a floor. But when you also got at Washington, that's never easy. And then home against Minnesota, I think, could be very interesting. So, I'm not saying they're going to go 6-6. I think that's a reasonable floor. And I don't think it's the worst thing ever. It's just, it's definitely possible. And let's say you win one of those games, you still got to have that Sparty loss like Purdue was last year that they shouldn't have and kind of set themselves back. So,
remember, we're talking floor.
I think that's a floor. And
there's nothing wrong with that floor number. I mean, if you were to say hey, I
guess it depends on your expectations.
If you lose all your ranked games basically, and then add 1,
yeah,
that's basically all you're saying.
Yeah,
yeah. If you're going with some silly 2-10 kind of thing,
it's a tough record or a tough schedule.
I'd call you out, but 6-6, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the floor, okay? The floor.
Yeah.
For everyone listening.
So you guys think that's fair? 6-6 is a potential floor.
Yeah, I think that's a good floor.
And then I personally put their ceiling at 10-2. It could be better, but I'm just not ready to say that they're ready to beat Ohio State. And I'm sorry, just one more loss outside of that is very reasonable and should be expected in a lot of ways. It's a very, very tough schedule. I don't think this team's ready to truly contend for a Big Ten championship, even though they almost did last year. I look at last year as the ceiling, and they hit it. Everything went right. It was incredible what they did last year. This is a different team. This is a different conference. You have other teams. You have Wisconsin on the up. You trying to get back. You have a Minnesota team that's grasping at anything possible. You're going to Washington. I just don't see how you escape this schedule with only 2 losses. And if they escape it with 1 loss, I will be the first to tell you I was completely wrong. But I hope that if they're 6-6 and the haters are going to hate on that, if they're that, I hope you guys are doing the same thing for me. You know what I mean? We're talking ceiling and floor here.
Yep.
So do you see a way that they have a higher ceiling than that? Or is that a fair ceiling?
No, I think it's a fair
That's
ceiling.
to the moon if they do better than that, in my opinion.
I think 11-1 is the ceiling. I think I could see a realistic route for this team to take advantage of some success early, get that confidence, especially at the quarterback position. I'm under the assumption that Peyton Thorne is a top-tier Big Ten quarterback. I think that's his ceiling. And with that type of leadership on this team, again, watch out. This is a sneaky team that could gain some confidence and win some games they shouldn't.
When will you know?
After October 8th?
For me, it's 3 or 4 games into the season, and then I feel like I'll know.
So say they dominate the first 4 games, and then, or let's say 5 games, and then lose to Ohio State. Let's say they lose by 30 again. You'll know that they're really good, or you know that they're really bad. I guess, why is that game the one that you'll know? It seems like it would be the week after. How you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just my thought, but
no, for me. It's going to be the culmination, plus playing Ohio State.
Yeah.
You know how they look against Washington at Washington, how they look against PJ Fleck, and I don't think Maryland's a rollover by any means. I don't think that's just a lock win.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah,
So-
but I think at that point you've seen real competition, Washington,
No,
Minnesota.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and then you'll have an idea of how this team looks.
I think they should go in, and I think they should beat Washington. But I think if they do it handily, and I think we're going to see a lot on that game. That game, I think we're going to know, all right, does the Spartan team have what it takes, or are they going to be trying to play upset Cinderella team later on in the year? You know what I mean? Against teams that are looking to solidify their playoff hopes or Big Ten championship hopes.
If they
You know
go
what I mean?
against Ohio State undefeated and they pull off that game,
Oh, man, look out.
they could go up against Wisconsin with way more confidence than than they know
Oh
what to
my
do with.
gosh.
And then Michigan game, let's say they lose one of those next two. Sorry, they could run the rest of the season with one loss.
So what's your guys' overall prediction? I'm going to start. I'm going to go with 7-5, and I know it's going to sound like a hater, but I just look at the schedule and it's tough. That's where I'm going to go. I could see one more win. I could see one more loss, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm going to put them at 9-3.
Yeah, that's exactly where I have them.
9-3.
They have three really, really tough games with Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. They're always good for at least one of those upsets. And if they pull off that upset, they'll probably lose one game they shouldn't lose to, which could be Minnesota, Washington, end of the year Penn State. But I think they're going to be favored in most of these games.
All right. Well, that gets us to our schedule game. John, we're gonna need you for this, man. Are you ready?
I am just like,
You're just not happy.
I'm ready to
sorry.
chuck this phone into your
Where
pool.
Where did you draft? What draft slot?
I had the second pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you auto drafted who? Number one.
Well, number
First pick-
two.
first pick.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, which I'm
Oh.
cool with.
Yeah.
But then I tried getting in and out of the league, like the draft page, so that I could start like queuing players, and it wouldn't let me. And then it like auto drafted, CeeDee Lamb, and then who else? I forget. Like just not good players. Oh, Leonard Fournette, and then like guys that I didn't want. Mark Andrews. I mean, he's all right, but like no QB. And then I look at what QBs are available, and like the best one that was available was like Justin Fields, and I think
Trey Lance, probably.
yeah, Trey Lance, and then whoever.
Get Trey Lance, not Justin Fields.
Well, yeah, at that point it was just way too late. So unfortunately, I'm in like a weird mood right now. We're trying to start a draft on a different app and see if we can get like the league settings up and running, because everybody like.
Did you guys go to the sleeper app?
We're
Try to figure
trying,
that
yeah.
one?
Like we're like everybody's committed to drafting tonight. Doesn't matter like how late now, and it's just like,
Dang.
man, this is gonna be a long night. So
Yeah, well, at least you can stay and watch the Hard Knocks.
yeah,
but
bear with me.
We're gonna need your picks though for these Michigan State games. Can you be aware for that, or do you just want us to do this ourselves?
So I just got to look at the schedule.
Tell us if it's a win or loss,
where we're
basically.
at? All
Yeah.
right.
Do you guys want music for this? Do we usually do music?
We can do it.
Can you get a coin flip toss anything on your phone too?
Sure.
In case we're 2-2, then we got to do a coin flip. That'd be great. All right, so you guys want to do music for this? Hello?
Do it.
All right, we're doing
You
music.
talking to me?
What you talking
John,
about,
we
Willis?
need a little volume there. Will that work for you guys? We can get that going? A little college football here. All right, we're going to start off. This is Friday. Friday, guys. We made it. It is football season. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. My bank account doesn't, but it's fine. We're going to start on Friday. We got hosting Western Michigan. I'm going to go with a win. Do you guys all agree with that?
Win.
Win.
Akron. That's a win for everybody, right?
Win.
Yeah, win.
All right.
Blowout.
Week 3 at Washington, night game. John, what do you have? Win or loss for Michigan State?
I'm gonna chalk up an L.
Micah,
Win.
Ryan,
Win.
I had a loss, so we need a coin flip. We're going to do heads will always be wins, tails will always be losses.
I just put win-loss down.
That works too. I didn't know you could do that on a coin. That's amazing. You just changed it yourself?
That's just a wheel.
Oh, win or loss? Oh, I see what you're doing. What is it?
It's a win.
Win. All right, 3-0 for the Sparties. All right, they are hosting the Minnesota Golden Gophers. PJ Fleck in his barbershop look that he's got going on. John, win or loss for the Spartans?
At home. Gosh, I wish they had a game time on that one.
Ooh, I didn't know what's that.
Yeah, let's Big Ten game. All right, they'll start the Big Ten season 1-0.
Micah?
Win.
Ryan?
Yeah, I got to win.
I got to win as well. I was almost going to change it to a loss because they officially got the win against Washington, but I'm not going to. I can't do that, right? Next, you got at Maryland. Coming off 2 pretty big games. They're 2 wins, right? They're 4-0 at Maryland. Ryan, you start us off for this one.
Win here, too.
Micah?
Win.
John?
Another win. We'll start 2-0.
Yeah, me too. I hope they lose. It's coming out. I'm starting to get frustrated watching all these wins on the board. I'm starting to think this is like gospel now already. Oh, this isn't good. I'm about to start getting fired up. All right, they are now 5-0, heading into probably the now number 1 overall team, Ohio State
That's a loss.
Buckeyes. Micah says loss. Ryan?
Yeah, loss here.
John?
I think it's going to be a clean sweep of losses. I
Yep.
hope.
I'm not gonna be the guy. Oh, actually, I was going to, but now I can't. You guys,
think they
you
could.
guys are right
but
there. But all right, next you go from Ohio State to hosting the Wisconsin Badgers. John, back-to-back losses here.
Yes, sir. Chuck them up.
I agree. Micah.
Going to that bye week a little beat up.
Oh yeah, Micah.
I'm gonna go win. They squeak out, one of those famous like lucky Sparty games.
All right.
Yeah.
That was the
Win.
nicest mean thing you've ever said about the Spartans.
Hey, but they do it every year.
Wisconsin's a weird team, right?
We're gonna learn a lot about them. We don't
Yeah.
know a lot, but win or
They had
loss.
Such a weird year last year. I'm going to go with this is going to be a win for State.
All right, coin it or wheel it, whatever you want to say.
See what the odds say.
It's a win.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Sam.
All right, they got a bye week, then the Michigan game, which we will do later. You guys good with that?
Yeah, sure.
Fine with me.
All right. Next, they got the Fighting Alliance. Actually, we should just do the Michigan game.
Yeah, let's do the Michigan.
Let's do the Michigan game. I got a loss for Michigan State. John, loss for Michigan State, right?
3 in a row.
Yeah. Micah,
Whoa. Yeah, it's gonna be a loss, boys.
Ryan, do your don't.
Is this going to be a coin flip or what?
No,
Oh no.
It doesn't-
You,
your
it
vote
doesn't
doesn't-
matter what you say.
your vote doesn't
got it.
matter.
All right.
but you're gonna say win just to like say
No loss.
loss. That's a sweep loss. All right, Illinois win, right?
Win.
Mike, John, is that a sweep?
It's a sweep.
Yeah.
Rutgers win.
Win.
Win for me as
Rutgers
well.
is a win.
Indiana, I'm going to go win.
Win.
John, Ryan.
3 in a row.
What, Indiana? Wait, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
distracted. There's a
Indiana.
skunk in my chicken coop.
Oh, boy. Oh, it's going
Yeah.
after the chickens
It's
or
going
the
after
eggs?
the chickens.
The eggs
Oh,
or the
see it?
chickens?
No, the actual chickens.
Oh, see
yeah.
it?
They tear them apart.
Or
I
you,
see it.
you don't care.
Hey, what happens, happens. Nature, right?
Nature. Let it be.
Circle of life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Oh,
9
wow.
and 2 heading into Penn State. Will it be a night game? Will Penn State be important? I'm going to go with a loss for Michigan State here. At Penn State, never easy for anybody. Micah?
That is exactly where I'm headed.
Ryan?
Yeah, loss.
James Franklin is going to be playing for either his job.
We just got a new
Or-
contract, right?
I
Yeah,
don't
it doesn't
care
matter.
what he's
No, John,
got.
do you clean sweep that loss? Or do you think they beat Penn State?
No, I think it's going to be a win for Michigan State.
Wow.
Cold weather game. They got to get one on the road. I think it's a big one for Mel
All right.
Tucker.
Well,
He'll probably accept another job after that game's over.
Oh boy. Dang, John.
All right, so that is actually a loss still, but that finishes their season at 9-3.
It's usually what happens when you lose your coach.
Look at that.
9-3 is what the Spartans will get this year. You heard it here first on State of My Sports podcast. Nope.
Time for draft
On
time.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
Please don't get him started on mock drafts.
125. Not bad. Still got a lot to talk about
It's
here.
pretty rough.
But I'm going to need your guys' help on this one. But we'll start with the Michigan season preview. John, don't forget to change the stream, too, though. I know you're drafting, but are you on the clock yet? We want to do at least one pick for you. Can we do one pick for you?
Man, I wish you guys could have done my first one. I mean, it was a no-brainer. And then all of a sudden, like I said, the clock said 3 minutes till draft, and I clicked over to the player list, see who all is like there and look at the rankings again. And then, boom, a bunch of the top ones were gone.
Wow.
And then it had me auto-drafted, with
It's frustrating.
Jonathan Taylor. Super frustrating. Then I tried to fire up a league on ESPN, and you can't update the league's settings until everybody joins.
Oh, now you got to get everybody to join.
Yeah.
You got some time, though.
Sleeper, man, I'm telling you.
That's what we're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
Go through it. But
All right. Well, we're in our Michigan season preview. As we all know, Michigan had the season all Harbaugh lovers expected to eventually have, and all Harbaugh haters thought wasn't possible. They went 12-2 overall after beating Iowa in the Big Ten championship game and losing in the playoff to the eventual national champions Georgia Bulldogs. They went 8-1 in conference, beating rivals OSU, Penn State, and Wisconsin along the way. They did, however, lose to their in-state rival, Michigan State, for a second straight year, and were completely outmatched in the playoff, losing 34-11 to Georgia. It was also a strange offseason with Harbaugh testing the NFL waters once again, but decided, allegedly, to come back, and I believe got a new contract along the way. However, during all of that, Harbaugh lost his defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, to the NFL, and offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis for a lateral job to become the OC at Miami. With that, they have Steve Klingscale and Jesse Minter as co-defensive coordinators, and Sharon Moore being a co-offensive coordinator with Matt Weiss. So a lot of stuff going on for Michigan. Betting side of things, Michigan is plus 4,000, tied for 7th to win the national championship. Second best odds to win the Big Ten at plus 650. I think I said I have a typo on this one. OSU is minus 215. Their over-under wins are over 9.5 wins is minus 140, and plus 120 for under 9.5 wins. Big number there. And to say 10 wins minus 140, whew, man, that's something you don't want to put money on. I'm not gonna lie. I just do not touch something like that, in my opinion. That's
Vegas. I mean, that's pretty good confidence in Michigan.
It really is. It really is. Some key subtractions, starting with the 3 first-round talents on the defense side of the ball, with number 2 overall pick Aiden Hutchinson, safety Daxon Hill. He went 31 overall to the Bengals, and when David Ajabo got hurt, his stock kind of fell. He was selected in the 2nd round by the Baltimore Ravens, but truly a first-round talent before the injury. Excuse me.
Got emotional. Emotional over
They also lost safety Brad Hawkins, linebacker Josh Ross, defensive tackle Chris Hinton, and cornerback Vincent Gray on the defensive side of the ball. On the other side, running back Hassan Haskins went 4th round, and offensive lineman Andrew Stuber, 7th round pick, are obviously gone, but also lost Dalen Baldwin to graduation. So some key names. I think obviously the defensive side of the ball is where the Wolverines lost their talent. But we're going to start with the offense and previewing the offense. And really, this is basically just a toss a grenade and let it go and duck for cover. I mean, because we're going to start by talking quarterback. And it starts with Cade JJ controversy. Everybody knows what's going on here. But basically where we're at, I don't want to get into what they did last year. We'll talk here a little bit about that. I just want to talk about the decision of what Harbaugh has officially made. Cade McNamara is going to start Game 1 on Saturday, and he has already decided that J.J. McCarthy will start Game 2. What do you guys think about that method? Trying not to get into who we want to win or who should be quarterback, who shouldn't be quarterback. That method, are you concerned about that at all?
Partially, but I guess it depends on what side of the ball you're on, right?
No, I don't have any problem.
You don't have any problem. I don't want it to be about what side of the side of the coin we're on here.
I know. I'm not telling you I'm on team so and so or whatnot, but there's going to be people that look at it with two different sight glasses, really. But I don't like it, honestly.
No.
I don't like the whole. Why not keep it to yourself that JJ is going to start Game 2? Why go out and tell someone?
Because these things, he said in his press conference that these things tend to get out. That's the reason he gave the entire depth
which he
chart.
has never done.
Yeah.
He's never given a depth chart.
They released the whole depth chart to the media ahead of time, and that was one of the questions. Like, why did you do this? He's like, this stuff gets out anyways. We wanted to control this. We were very honest with our players. We're going to be honest with. We're just trying something new, and I think it's interesting. The quarterback situation. If they can't figure out who's the better man for the job, and the starter from last year was the one who won the Big Ten championship and went to the playoff. It says that they truly do believe in both guys. They believe in the talent of JJ. They believe in the leadership and talent of Cade. And I don't know. I'm also not one of those guys that believes if you have two, it means you have none.
But
I agree with that. I hate when people say that, especially in college. It's different in pro, but when you have that in college, it's bullcrap.
What an awkward position, though, because he just named Cade as one of the captains.
He didn't name the team voted him captain.
Oh, the team. Okay, excuse me.
Unanimously.
I'm sorry. Okay, so the team voted him team captain, one of, right? And then Jim decides he's going to take one of his starts away no matter what. Hey, thanks for playing for us last year. You're getting the start game 1. Sorry, JJ's getting the start game 2. Things get kind of weird. Like, doesn't that situation kind of speak for itself? Like, hey, we really don't believe in Cade 100% going out from here. It's that JJ might be that much better, and we're looking to...
Well, I think you kind of asked two different questions there. Do they believe in Cade? Yeah, I do think they believe in Cade. They obviously believe in Cade of what he did last year. It's impossible not to. He led their offense perfectly. He did exactly what they asked him to do. They ran the ball first. Like he did nothing wrong to lose his job. They trust that he can go out there and do exactly what he did last year. But does that necessarily mean that they don't think JJ's pressing him for that job? And I think that's where I like the honesty about it is, no, JJ is the one that's getting closer to Cade's level, is pushing Cade. And when he passes him, we're ready to give that to him. That's the way I look at it. Now, I understand all of the, is it fair to Cade? Is it, like... I get very uncomfortable with all of this conversation. I don't know where I stand from a team standpoint and trying to like look at it as how I would if I were on the team and how I would look at it as a fan and how I would look at it as these two guys. It's a very, very tough situation, and I don't know the right decision. But one thing that I love, sorry, I know you want to jump in. One thing that I really like about it is if it's that close of a race and you're going to give it to the guy that been there, done that last year, proven that he can, but then not just let him keep that job. And what they have now is a first half. Let's assume Michigan does what they're supposed to do against these two teams, and at halftime they're switching. Well, instead of Cade going in and handing the ball off and playing respectfully against scrubs and with the second team offense as a whole, instead he's going to get game 2 to be this starter with the first team to run up that score and do exactly what Cade gets the opportunity to do in that first game. That aspect, I love it. And what it also does is it gives them 15 more practices to decide, because they're going to learn more in practice than they are in these two games, outside of what the fans think. Like, we're going to sit and watch these games and feel like we're learning something about these two guys. They're actually learning something in practice in the way that these guys are both running the team. It gives you 15 more practices, or 15 or more probably, I guess, from here till then.
With games.
With games, you have all of that time to then make a decision. I get the transfer portal thing, like, well, hold these guys hostage and stuff, and it's uncomfortable and all that stuff, but you got to do what's best for your team. And the best thing that's for Michigan is to keep both these guys here. That's the best thing. And they can make their own decision. If they want to middle finger the program and walk out because they're unhappy with the way Harbaugh's doing it, they have the ability to. They could have done it last year. They could have done it in the offseason. They could do it now. They can do that. I don't care about these guys' feelings. Put the best guy out there. That's what I want to see eventually.
Let's not understate what Harbaugh said to himself. He believes these guys are not candidates to just go transfer when things get tough. He believes in the character of both of these guys. When he was comparing their leadership ability, you have a team captain and a true sophomore. And when he was comparing their leadership ability and command of the team, he said they were equals. So he's not discounting what JJ brings to this team. He believes what he does.
JJ's a leader too.
He is a leader, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. If JJ was young with a lot of talent but didn't have the character traits that they were looking for in a starting quarterback, this would not be a question. Cade would be the starter.
That's a good point.
He believes in both of them. He truly does, and I think they are wrestling with this decision. Clearly, they are, because this is the result that you get.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. You get 2 weeks worth of additional practices, but also I think what you do on the field does matter, because that's where the true execution, when the pressure's on the line, that's when that execution matters most.
Okay.
And if a guy like JJ can go out and do what he does best and execute the small things that they're expecting, and then bring the playmaking ability, running ability, and some of the dominant traits that he has in college football, watch out. This could be a Trevor Lawrence type of change where they're not that year that Trevor Lawrence took over, Clemson was playing for something more than just being a conference champion.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing for something long term and going after some sort of national championship, or at least aspire in a final. That would be the goal in Michigan. If they truly believe that how to get to the Final Four again,
yep,
and then aspire for national championship status, if JJ gives them that opportunity, I think they're going to go that route. But we saw ball security issues last year, which they say he got over. We had injury concerns during the summer with his shoulder and everything, that he's hopefully over. And he's letting the play on the field determine who the right course of action here, and I'm all for that.
And as Michigan fans, that's what we should want. Throw the feelings aside. If you're going to feel bad for a guy like Cade because he loses his job to a guy like JJ, get out of here. We don't want you as a fan, because what we did last year is the absolute ceiling that we've seen in our lifetime, other than 97. And really, before that, it was, early 60s or mid-60s when they won the national championship before that? It's like one title in 80 years or something. I don't know the exact, but it's like, do you want to go to that next level? Well, these are the tough decisions that need to be made. And will they make it? I don't know. I'm just saying,
Cade could be the guy for the job.
I'm just saying, if you want more, like you've been demanding the last 5 years under Harbaugh, this is the stuff that you need to be okay with. Whether you think Cade deserves the job or not, and I'm not taking a side of who should and who shouldn't get the job. The best guy should get the job. And I'm going to trust that this Harbaugh is going to make that decision. This will be the first time, if he actually makes a decision, that we believe that he put the best quarterback out there, and he's throwing feelings aside. He's not putting any of that in there. And that's probably unfair. I think in the moment that was how he felt, but I think as we've seen things unfold with these guys suck, even though it's like the next guy and then he sucked and then the next guy and he sucked, and now all these guys are out of college football now, maybe that's a little unfair to assume that he didn't put the best guy out there. You know what I mean? Kind of going back here, but
no, yeah, right, yeah.
It's like
maybe they just didn't have much.
Maybe they didn't have that.
And maybe we have two legit guys now.
And now that's what's happening, and that's what it looks like. They're giving JJ their final chance to take this job from Cade. This is it.
Yeah. And what we're gonna get,
and it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing.
Or the opposite, where he's giving Cade one final
to win it and keep
to
it.
establish this job and say, no, this is my team, my role, my responsibility.
I tell you what, take the over and take Michigan's points in both of these games, because both these quarterbacks are going to be looking to pump up the score in that first half. Every chance they get, both these guys, and I hope it's a clean competition. I hope they like each other. I hope they get along good, and I hope that they're ready to push each other, because, man, this offense, these quarterbacks are going to be looking to make plays.
Here's a good question, interesting question. So if they blow up both these teams in the first half, who comes in the second half?
That's a great question. Like, does JJ take over the second half? I don't think so. I think it'll be
talking third string.
I think it'll be like third string, right?
Okay.
A good chance, yeah.
I don't know.
I just wondered.
I think they'll give JJ a run, at least a series, or
in
maybe
the
two.
First, and then probably Cade.
No. I think it's Cade's half.
Well, I meant in the first game. Like,
yeah.
Yep. So say they're up 30-0 at halftime. You move into the second string. Maybe they'll give JJ a drive or two, and then quickly bring in the third string.
but he would be in there with the number twos. Yeah. And the whole point of this is so that both quarterbacks get an opportunity to work with the ones. And see how that chemistry is. So
that's important.
I like that. The other thing here is the reason this is a challenging decision is not like, let's just say that Cade McNamara was a senior this year. He had 1 year left. I think the obvious choice is to let Cade play out his career and then have JJ step in and try to be a
JJ
Heisman
is probably
candidate the
good
next
with
year.
that.
Yeah.
But that's
absolutely
not the case.
It's not the case. They both have, because of COVID and everything weird happening there, they both have 3 years of eligibility left.
Yeah, you were right about that. I remember talking in the car on the way to the Burning Foot,
Yeah.
and I thought you were wrong about 3 years, but you're right. Yeah, he's got this year and 2 more. Cade,
Yeah.
Cade was like a third year freshman last year.
They've both got 3. I actually got a sheet of all the eligibility of the starters.
He was a super sophomore. I think that's the way they're
Is
they're
that what it
saying
was?
Yeah, so
Right.
then he still has 3 more years of eligibility, which matches JJ's eligibility. So this is not a decision that let's throw a scenario out there. JJ wins the job, and he goes nuts, and he turns into a pro prospect. He could get drafted his first year being eligible to be drafted. He could get drafted not this year, but next year, I believe.
And then Cade could still have
And
one
then
more.
Cade could still have another year of eligibility as a super senior.
But I don't know if he's going to graduate after this year.
Well, if he just goes into graduate school and he
Yeah.
can stay here as long as he wants.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing a weird scenario out there. It's like, there's not a good answer except for let the best man win. Competition
And
brings
that's what
iron sharpen iron.
That's what every fan should want, is the best player win the job. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Getting into the O-line here, the addition of another name.
Go for it.
Olu.
Nope, I'm not even going to try. From Virginia at center.
What's his nickname? Are people calling him Oli, Ali, Olu?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask JJ.
All right.
You think JJ knows better than Cade? I see what you did there. At center, settles the front 5, helped by all Big Ten guard Zach Zinter is back, along with left tackle Ryan Hayes. They bullied teams last year, bullied Big Ten teams, and they may have gotten better overall in a lot of ways. I think this tackle center from Virginia sounds like the real deal. From everything I've read about him, it sounds like he could come in and be the best center in Big Ten. Which I don't know the depth chart, or like everybody's center.
He was an All-American.
I mean that's solid.
He was an All-American last year. They're actually, by all reports, he's an upgrade from last year's center. Our right tackle, I know Stuber was a big deal last year. He did a really good job.
He was good.
Mm-hmm.
But he also was a little bit maybe slow. So we're actually considered, I forget the name on right tackle too, but it's a new guy that just won the job, and we should actually.
Trente Jones.
Yeah, Trente Jones actually could be an upgrade over Stuber as well. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that they're
Zinter
guaranteed
takes a
to be
step
better.
up.
I think if they're worse, they're just a hair worse. If they're better, they're just a little bit better. And this team, this is the strength of the team.
This is the
still.
strength of the team.
Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure. Then you look at the running back room behind a good offensive line and potentially a good passing game. When you look at Haskins' numbers, he had 1,300 yards and 20 touchdowns. That's pretty comparable to what Kenneth Walker did in a lot of ways. I think Kenneth Walker had 2 less touchdowns but 300 more yards.
Yeah,
which. Yeah, seems like a lot, but at the same time, those are really good numbers, what he did. But you do bring back Blake Corum, who almost had 1,000 yards rushing himself, an additional 140 yards receiving. I thought that was going to be higher when I started pulling these numbers. And 14 total touchdowns, also with true sophomore Donovan Edwards, who shined with the few touches he got.
He had 140 yards in one game last year.
It's insane.
Receiving.
You don't want to underestimate what Haskins did, because especially getting another running back drafted, finally a running back drafted, a skill position drafted from Michigan into the NFL, that's a huge step up in a lot of ways. It doesn't happen very often, and now that it's starting to, it's exciting. And I don't want to underestimate what Haskins did, but this running back room, there was a lot of people that liked Corum better than Haskins, and there's a lot of people that liked Edwards better than Corum, and like it's not a step down. And when your core offensive line is still there, and maybe even a little more of a better wrinkle with Edwards, with the potential of catching the ball out of the backfield, that's something that I think Haskins did probably well, but it didn't show. Like, they didn't show it a ton. So what do you think about the running back room? It seems like another one of those things, like you just said, Ryan, with the offensive line. If it's at worse, if anything, it's a little worse, and if anything, it's a little better. right? Is that a fair way to look at it? I mean, do you guys agree, or do you think it's better?
I think it got better.
Yeah.
I mean,
and these are the two. There's probably more that I'm
missing
against
here. Hassan. I mean, completely different running back room the way it looks this year, but you have a much higher ceiling with these two back there. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, we've seen what we could.
Donovan Edwards was a 5-star, right? I mean,
Right.
that guy, he came in legit. He looked the part.
Still looks the part.
Yeah.
I mean, his ceiling's so high, it's ridiculous. I mean, he's
Watch him playing bags, and he's just jacked out there.
classic story.
He hit
No.
the hole every time.
No, there is so much talent to go around in that running back room, especially with Corum and Edwards. I mean, Edwards is he's so dynamic. He's so versatile at what he does, what he can do. And Blake Corum is going to be dynamite. He's going to have a huge year.
That dude looked so good when he was healthy.
I was
And
going to say
he-
dynamic. That's the word for both of them.
For
This
both of
room
them.
is going to be
Where
different.
I mean, Haskins didn't have that dynamic feel. At least I think there were times he was slipperier than I think people give him credit for. Better runner than people gave him credit for.
Yes.
But that would be the word that people probably wouldn't use when they were talking about him heading into the year.
That's the words we used. We've been talking about Haskins for 3 years.
We like
he was
Haskins.
always
And-
the best thing that he did is he established himself in this running game as a dominant part of Michigan football again, and then let the young guys develop under him.
Yeah.
And he established the route. Now these guys will take over, do exactly what he did, but the difference is the dynamic opportunities that these guys both have in the receiving side. I know I've heard on Sports Talk Radio that Corum's the runner and Edwards is going to be the receiving back. I'm like, could be the complete opposite.
Yeah,
they really should be switched.
I agree with that.
The point is, both are dynamic running the ball, and both are dynamic catching the ball. They can both be the wide receiver. Like these guys are going to be on the field together.
You think
a
they
lot.
will?
I absolutely think they will be.
All right. No, and that's something that we didn't see a whole lot. I mean, a few times, but we'll see a lot more this year based on what you guys said. I did want to talk about the wide receivers and then touch a tie-out on really the tight ends. I'll just get the tight end stuff out of the way. You got Eric All and Schoonmaker coming back. They're returning. That is massive in the Big Ten. That is massive for this team. Two reliable tight ends that can block, that can catch, and make plays. That's all I got to say. And it's a safety net.
They got a freshman coming.
Dude, I didn't get too in depth of the tight ends, but let's talk about the wide receivers. I would say very deep with Ronnie Bell coming back from injury and young players. You hope to see us take a step up. You got Cornelius Johnson, Andrew Anthony, Roman Wilson, AJ Henning, Sandersfield. That one really confused me. Now tell me a little bit about Sandersfield. Kind of going to take a detour here. Is he playing corner now, or who is it that's playing corner now?
Yeah, he's playing corner now. I mean, look what you just mentioned. It got far too crowded, and that the talent level at the first five guys you mentioned it's too far. It's too far. So he made the switch to cornerback, and that's where he's sitting right now. I don't know where he is on the depth chart currently, but he had to make the switch.
Yeah, it just seems like a very deep core, and then a couple guys that needed to similar to what I think Ronnie Bell's he's the go-to guy. Like, people forget he was going into last year being ready to pump up and get into that top 3 high-end draft pick next year. Got hurt, I think it was against Western Michigan, and I mean
Week one
had
this
he's
sick
back.
One-handed catch.
Oh my
too.
gosh!
He
and
took
then
one
he
to
had
the house.
the punt return. I think that is what he got hurt on, but it was a sick return too. If I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is dynamic, and he's your Jayden Reid going to Michigan State. He's that guy. He's going to be your number one, no question. Who's going to take that step up? That's what I want to know. How? Like, I could read these names, and you guys talk about how highly recruited they are. You need a mix of wide receivers. You need to have the body. You need to have the speed. You need to have the slot guy. Like all those things. How do these guys mix together is what I don't know, because I don't really remember sitting and watching Michigan last year and being like, oh, that's our guy that does this. That's our guy that does that. It just seemed like a bunch of the same guys trying to do the same thing. You know what I mean? And I look at the game completely wrong than most people. That's one. Yeah, I need to get it. Go ahead.
Ronnie
Ronnie
Bell's a legit number one. He's going to be a legit number one. And what I think is the best thing is that's his role. That's going to free up Cornelius Johnson to be better. That's going to free up Andrew Anthony to be what he would normally be in a number 2 or 3 option. it's going to take away the need to always have a small guy in the slot, and then you have 3 bigger wide receivers moving around, or throw multiple slot guys out there and then just have them run around like crazy. I think Ronnie Bell is the perfect addition, the exact thing that we were missing last year. The frustration last year was that Cornelius Johnson, we all see the talent there, but it's not a dominant type of style wide receiver. He needs some help. And so he's a great guy to be a number 2, but he needs a number 1. And Andrew Anthony could take over as a dynamic 1 or 2 type of guy too, but again, Ronnie Bell this year takes that pressure off. He can fulfill that role right away. He's a team captain. I'm pumped about getting him back. He's the perfect style. He really led our team in catches like 3 or 4 years ago when we had several NFL type wide receivers on the team. He was still the go-to then.
And A.J. Henning, you're going to see more Debo style kind of things out of him.
Okay.
I said Debo style. Debo Samuel style. So you're
I know
going
what you meant.
okay.
Harry Styles?
Type
So
stuff.
he's going to be, kind of like your Swiss Army knife, where they're going to use him a lot of jet sweeps in the slot.
Okay.
On the outside also with Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson being another deep threat type guy. He's just lanky. He's
effortless.
got good hands. That's kind of where those two kind of fall.
So offense as a whole, I think outside of the quarterback drama, I don't think anyone really questions what this offense can do. They quietly had, I think it was the most explosive offense in college football last year with just big plays. You know what I mean? I think they had the most 50-yard plays and the most 60-yard plays, like all that kind of stuff. And it seems like they only got better, and that's really exciting to see. And it doesn't feel as explosive as everybody's thinking Ohio State's going to be. It doesn't seem like the hard-nosed running game that I think people think Wisconsin can be, but it seems like they have a really good mix of both and might be better at both.
I'm also looking at some of these games here. They're not facing the top end type of defenses that you would expect to see Michigan's schedule normally.
The schedules.
They are going to run up some scores. I'm expecting big-time offensive numbers this year.
Yeah.
And I expect records to fall this year.
No, that's exciting. It'll be fun to see. They're going to be up there with some of the best offenses in college football with stats and not just throwing up points, but just being efficient too. Like they're going to be very well balanced. Probably the best balanced offense in college. With still wondering how Ohio State is going to be. I'm interested to see Ohio State. They might be able to run the ball pretty well, but they gotta improve from last year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you got an amazing quarterback, let's just go at like Alabama, and you're gonna have a great running back. They're gonna be balanced. I'm not worried about those offenses down south.
All right. So let's get into the defense. Obviously, the defensive line. You lost Ajabo. You lost Hutchinson. I'm really gonna rely on you guys heavily for this conversation here. Who's filling those needs? Obviously the defensive. I mean, you lost Hinton as well, who was a defensive tackle. That was solid. How's this defensive line going to look? You got to win in the trenches.
I want to start off with Mozzie Smith. So
okay.
I just want to give a little shout out here. Mozzie Smith, who started as a role player last year. We were high on him. We talked about Mozzie Smith a lot in the podcast when other people were not talking about him.
You weren't here for when we talked about him a couple weeks ago, were you?
Oh no, was
there
a report?
Yeah, well he was number one on Freak.
Okay, that's what I was going to bring up.
No, go for it. No, do it again. No,
well, so he brought up he was
I forget the name. Pete Prisco, maybe.
Bruce Feldman.
Bruce
Feldman's Freak List, which he's gained a lot of respect in recent years and everything about being right on, because these guys end up being pro prospects the majority of the time because they test really well. The Freak List is all about your athletic ability. It's going to combination of size, strength, speed, just raw athletic talent and ability. Mozzie Smith was number 1 on this year's Freak List, which to me comes at a surprise. Like, I see it. I understand. I've been a big fan of him for a long time. But I think what we're going to see is a difference in strength overall mixed with some speed that we've already seen. So if he can keep that combination, and he's worked through injuries a lot in recent years, if he can be healthy, create that power to speed combination and put that on the field, watch out, because that's the inside presence that we absolutely have always been needing and looking for in this defensive line since probably 4 years ago. I mean, we lost Hinton, but he was an undersized interior defensive guy that didn't rush the quarterback.
Yep. And if
I
the
don't think it's a huge loss.
Didn't think he was valuable, that valuable at least. What about the edges? What are we looking at edges here?
I think that's a huge loss.
It's definitely a loss.
This is the biggest question. I don't think they're going to be as bad as some people expect them to be.
Yep.
If you look at David Ajabo going into last year, he was not somebody that anybody expected to be a first-round talent. Nobody was thinking that he was going to go out there and get double-digit sacks, and yet he went out and worked hard, learned from Aiden Hutchinson what it takes to be a great edge rusher, did what it took, obviously had natural ability, and you're going to see it with guys like, I don't know, maybe a sneaker like Derek Moore.
Who do you got, Micah?
Maybe. I'm looking at Mike Morris for sure. Mike Morris is going to be a staple as an edge defender, and you got Taylor Upshaw and Jalen Harrell as well. I
like Harrell a lot.
Jalen Harrell made a lot of key plays. He blew a lot of people up coming around the edge, and you got to give some credit to that interior defensive line, and also on the ends you're going to have Chris Jenkins and Mason Graham, and those guys have been creating a lot of noise at camp, and for that reason, I think that's where you're going to see kind of the cohesion of the edge guys and your defensive ends working together through the interior, through the edge, and doing what they need to do and make plays, create stops, and get to that quarterback.
Yeah, but you mentioned him, Mason Graham. He's a true freshman. And watch out, this guy might end up being a starter interior defensive lineman with Mozzie Smith. It could happen sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
He's been really impressive.
And if they can kind of maybe going more towards the pressure from the inside that they got beat on against Georgia rather than the outside, maybe switch it up in that way. We'll see. But, what about the linebackers? How's the linebacking core look? Obviously lost Josh Ross, who was kind of the leader in a lot of ways in that outside of Aiden Hutchinson. He was the quarterback of that defense. You had Aiden doing his thing, but Ross was the leader there in a lot of ways. How do we replace that? Do we have anybody that we're excited about?
Junior Colson, baby.
Junior Colson,
yeah. Okay.
All day long. There is no other man for that job. Junior, I think right now, I think he's right in line with where Josh Ross was last year.
Okay.
And I think, again, he's another player where I think his ceiling is a lot higher than Josh Ross. Yeah. I had a lot more hopes for Josh Ross, and I'm having that same sort of feeling for Junior Colson. I think Colson's going to do bigger and better things.
Then Vincent Gray, he left at corner. Oh my gosh. Daxon Hill gone with the safety / corner thing. How do we fill that need?
Our safeties are legit.
Are they?
I'm not worried about our safeties. Dax Hill didn't play the role of safety last year.
Yeah, it was more corner and
it was corner and maybe a little bit more freedom to float.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that. We have Rod Moore, who stepped up big time as a freshman last year. We have Micah, go ahead and say some names.
He's got the names.
I know.
We got Makari Page, RJ Moten.
Okay.
So RJ Moten was a starter last year. They are loving everything that I've heard. They're loving what he's bringing and his intensity and everything. But Makari Page has been one of the biggest risers through the offseason. What he's done physically with his body and gaining some muscle. He's always had the speed. He pops on the screen. He always has, especially with RJ Moten too. All three of these safeties, it seems like they fully trust all three of them. And it sounded like Harbaugh was actually saying in different packages he considers all three starters at this point.
That's really good to hear. What do you expect to see? Obviously, to say that they're going to take a step back from what they did last year. They dominated the games in crucial moments. I think that's the biggest thing. It wasn't necessarily they just put up a bunch of stats. It was when they needed to play, the defense seemed to be the ones that made it. Can we expect that? What kind of step back can we see, or do you expect to see?
I'm curious on your answer here because you're framing this question in an interesting way.
I don't think you're going to have these these two edge guys like a Hutchinson and an Ajabo that are that effective. It's going to be it's going to be an 11 starter effort is what it's going to be. Yeah,
So,
they could lead the Big Ten in sacks, but not with two guys, not with just the two guys on the ends.
Do you think we let the TV broadcast manipulate the way we watched this defense last year, and they're actually deeper and better all around, but everything we heard was Aiden this, Ajabo that, Aiden this, Ajabo that, where it just kind of like as soon as that's all we're hearing, that starts what we see. Is that fair? And this defense overall is better than what we actually saw last year?
Well, I think they're a year older, and again, college football is so important with age. If you get more time under your belt, and we played a lot with freshmen last year, and so that experience that they got at a championship level is extremely valuable. So those guys like Rod Moore coming back as a second year player, that's huge. Like you just don't get that type of experience. Normally you'd only get that at like an Alabama or Ohio State, but those freshmen don't play. So he was on the field playing, getting that experience. I think this team could dominate in a different way. I think it could be kind of like a no-fly zone in a way. DJ Turner rated out as the best college cover cornerback in all of college football last year. Jamon Green, I think, is a huge asset to this team. He came back. That's important.
Yeah, and he's the guy that you were talking about that was like, he got beat, but he actually wasn't getting beat.
He only just needed to turn his head.
Yeah, he was like Okuda when Okuda looks bad. Like, everybody's like, oh, Okuda gets beat again. Well, he actually had him beat. It was just a great throw, great catch. Yeah. And he didn't get his head around and hit his hand right here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Jamon Green doesn't get beat physically. He doesn't get beat down the field. He's athletically equal to all of the wide receivers he plays against. And here and there, he just doesn't see the ball. He's now an experienced cornerback that's been there, done that, and I think it's going to be super valuable for this team. And then Mike Sanders still is the starting slot cornerback.
Okay.
And
slot.
That's where he came into this, into college football. He was recruited as a corner.
Interesting.
So I think he's actually going to have a lot of fun with this.
So would you say the biggest question is the new defensive coordinator and how that transition is going to work? Or coordinators, I should say? Rather than the talent and the players?
Okay, there's definitely some legitimate question and concern with it, but when you have Steve Klinkscale that's been there for the last 2-3 years, there's going to be some cohesion with the kids that have been on the team between him and Jesse Minter, the new DC. I don't have as much worry as I think some other fans do, but I'm not going to be so blind to the fact, like, oh, we're just going to, pick up where we left off last year. Yeah. I don't think that's the case for me. There may be a slight step back, but I don't worry about Jesse Minter coming in and really turning things upside down. I don't see that happening.
All right.
I don't think this defense is going to take a step back. I really don't. I think they will just do it differently. It's going to look different.
Yeah.
I'm not downplaying the importance of Hutchinson and Ajabo. I think they were legitimately the best college football pair of edge rushers last year, and I'm including Georgia in that.
Yeah.
And but we still have this talent and guys who believe around here. They're gonna be dominant. They're gonna be really good.
I'm just gonna go back to what I brought up last week. I mean, it's just another reload, right?
John's got something.
This team, you got something, John?
No.
He's so miserable over there.
I turned my phone off.
Do we keep sounding good or no?
You guys are sounding great.
Yeah, so I brought up this last week. Since Jim came in 2015, 19th best defense, 5th best defense, 8th best defense, 16th, 14th, 115th in the COVID season, and then 13th. The three defensive talent that they lost, that's a big deal. But what Michigan has shown since Jim's come in is he continues to bring in talent, and they continue to find a way to make it work no matter who they lose and who they gain. Like it is reload. That's what this defense does. Now, what kind of step back will it be? I'm going to expect some kind of step back, but I'm also, like you're saying, Ryan, going to believe in it's just going to be a different way. Just because you don't have Aiden and Ajabo doesn't mean you still can't dominate on a side of a football. Because there were plenty of teams that dominated football without Aiden, without Ajabo, without the edge talent that Michigan had. And I'm going to believe that they know how to build a defense and they're going to know how to run a defense. I'm sorry, but that's just what I'm going to do. But
yeah, agreed.
Who do you guys got as a breakout player? Or do you guys want to skip this part so we can save time?
Yeah.
Yeah? Breakout player.
know.
Don't
Micah,
forget
what do
about
you think?
player. Dark horse MVP.
We'll just go through it. Let's just name the names and without expanding
All
on
right,
our
yeah,
thoughts.
you guys go. I'm not even going to do it.
Breakout player?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Donovan Edwards.
Oh, man, that's what I was going to do. Donovan Edwards.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy.
JJ. Oh, no worries. Fine. All right, John, what do you got?
JJ was my pick, but it's the
JJ.
only name that was just like, come on, let's go. I'm pulling for him.
Dark horse MVP is 2 then, right? JJ?
Ooh.
He's not even the starting quarterback. Week 1.
I'd probably go
That's a
with,
dark horse if you ask me.
Probably go with Blake Corum.
Blake?
Yeah.
I think Corum's really important, but all right.
Can I go Peyton or Leary? Peyton
Sure.
or Leary.
Why not? You
Wide
can do whatever you
receiver.
want.
Breakout.
All right. Getting into the team, the results here. I'm going to set the Michigan floor at 8-4. A lot of close games last year that came down to the defensive game-breaking plays. Will they do that again? They do have a pretty easy schedule, but I don't think any Michigan fan would guarantee wins against OSU at OSU, at Iowa, or home against Penn State, Michigan State. I'm sorry, but those are just games that we all get worked up for. And to say that they're 100% going to win those 4 games, I can't do it. So that's why. But other than that, I would assume that they're gonna win the other ones. So 8-4 seems like a solid floor to me. Do you guys agree with that, or do you think that's a little unfair?
I actually say their floor is 9-3.
9-3.
Yeah, just because I'm not like an absolute floor like these are the games they will lose, but
Yeah.
I think in general you would win one of those games,
Yeah, no, that's true.
and maybe Nebraska or I don't know, Indiana would then rival. I think the schedule's easy. I think
It is an
I
easy
think
schedule.
9-3 is the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Ryan. Same.
All right, ceiling. I'm gonna put it at 12-0. I think it's unlikely, but it has to be a ceiling. They were so freaking close to doing it last year. To say that they can't do it seems a little unfair. So I'm gonna put the ceiling at 12-0. Yeah, I'm a Michigan fan, but that seems like the only fair way to go, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And then for my personal prediction, I'll let you guys throw yours out. I'm going to go with 10-2. I'm going to say losses to OSU and either drop at Iowa or again to Michigan State, even though I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Harbaugh will allow that to happen. But I'm going to go with 10-2 just out of the close games that they had last year, assuming one thing will go wrong and another loss will happen. And then I'm going to mark them as a loss for at OSU at this point. Where are you guys at with your prediction?
I'm gonna go 11-1.
Lost to Ohio State.
I
I guess we don't need to do that yet. We don't.
I have them going 11-1.
11-1 as well?
Winning the Big Ten, going to the Final Four.
John.
11-1.
Oh, you guys are slappies. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. I would have done it. I just wanted to be fair. Or this not get crap. from someone else. All right, that brings us to our schedule game. I'm just gonna do it. Sweep first 4. You guys go with that?
Yeah, let's move on. What do you think, Maryland? Maryland is the long shot there. They could throw it.
I'm assuming you guys just all said 11-1, so I'm assuming you didn't have them losing one of the first 4
Well,
games.
Maryland was the team I had them losing to. No.
All right. Week 5 is when their season really starts. They are at Iowa. Never easy. Obviously, it's Iowa. Iowa, you kicked the crap out of last year. You should win this game, but at Iowa. Never easy. To be announced time slot. Oh, boy.
You know that's gonna be a
Circle
night
it.
game. Cut it out.
I'm going to give them the win. I am. But I'm nervous about it.
This one makes me sick.
What about you guys? John, win or loss?
Iowa?
Yeah.
Win.
Ryan.
I'm going loss,
Oh.
and this is where JJ takes over because Cade let them down in the road environment.
JJ didn't come in at halftime and save the day with a Superman
Nope,
cape
that was
on?
Cade's team at this point. JJ's team after this.
He's going to go undefeated. I love it. All right, Micah, you got win or loss there?
Oh, I'm gonna go win.
All right, that's 3-1, Ryan. So
Yeah, that's fine.
5-0 at Indiana.
I'm going to be pretty consistent
That
from
was
here on.
tough.
I'm gonna go win at Indiana.
Yeah, win here.
Win.
Win.
Penn State hosting Penn State on October 15, right before the bye week.
Win.
They are
Micah?
going to drub Penn State.
That's a good thing.
Oh yeah.
Drub,
Good
John?
job all day.
Win.
win. All right, that is a sweep. I'm gonna give them a win as well. I haven't really gone consistent with my prediction, but it doesn't matter. They have the bye week. Both teams bye week heading into the Michigan State game. We had a sweep win is what we did there, so we got to keep that consistent here. At Rutgers, I'm assuming you guys don't think the Scarlet Knights are going to pull off the upset, are you?
It's going to be a close game like always.
Yeah, who's their running back?
JJ.
All right.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But it's a sweep, right?
Win.
Cornhuskers, Nebraska. That's a sneaky one.
Nope.
I don't want to say it's
Scott Frost won't be coaching. Sorry. That's a win for me.
Isn't that a good thing?
That's why it's sneaky.
Look, I'm going to go with a win.
Yeah, win.
John, win.
Win.
Undefeated, still fighting Illini before the big one. Win. Right?
Yeah, win.
Undefeated, heading into the
Hate week.
Ohio State game. They are at Ohio State, who will be number 1 in the country by then. No, actually, they probably won't because they're probably going to lose to a couple teams, but we'll just get into that some other time. At Ohio State, I'm going to go with a loss. I think that's the fair thing to do. But
I heard a draft thing there.
yeah, I don't know what that was.
I don't know.
He turned his phone back on. John, at Ohio State, win or loss?
Loss.
Oh, 2 losses.
I'm sorry, guys.
Ryan.
I got to win on this one. I've got Michigan beating Ohio State again.
Coin.
Changing.
Toss. Coin. Toss.
Changing.
Coin.
Ooh.
We got a coin. Sorry, I cut you off. But you were
they're changing the landslide or the landscape of this rivalry.
Rivalry.
Let's go.
Rivalry.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it was just going back to a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
That one episode.
Okay.
Chalk up the L.
They got a loss. All right, so they finished 11-1. Is that enough to go to the Big Ten championship?
Find
We'll
out
do that next
time.
week. Find out next time on State of My Sports. But that was our season preview. That was fun. That was a good time. I enjoyed it. Did you guys enjoy it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah, I'm excited for
College football.
I'm excited for both teams again. Like last year was a dream scenario. They were undefeated against each other.
Oh my god.
Crazy
Ranked,
If we said that heading into the year, we would have been slappies out of all slappies, but it didn't happen.
We did say that.
We
and
did?
Everybody accused us of being slappies, and that happened.
I don't think I said that. I think I had Michigan State with like
no,
6
as
losses
a
by then.
podcast when we did this. When
Oh,
we
did we?
Yeah, we both. Yeah, we
That's
were undefeated.
awesome. Good stuff.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
Picks.
And an apology to Carrie.
Oh, did she comment a few times?
Struggling. I'm about
That's
to
fine.
break my phone just so I can go get a new one.
Yeah.
Start over.
You should have an iPhone anyways.
Man, frustrating.
You should get an iPhone.
Frustrating. Well, I was talking to Trav, and he was like, "Oh, same thing happened with fantasy baseball. It's
Really?
Like 3 people got picked. They're like kicked out of the league, like not kicked out of the out of the draft room, and like auto picked when they had the draft room like open on their phone.
Huh.
I had to open when it opened at 8:30. Draft started at 9. Had the phone sitting on the floor. It was like, all right, watching that clock. Turn my mic down, ready to go, and
That's brutal.
awful.
Just don't blame the podcast. You're not blaming us.
I really didn't have that bad of a squad for auto pick. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb were
Did
like
you
my
guys
first
scrap
3
it?
picks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I deleted
man.
the league, yep.
Good.
We're
You
starting
gonna
Start
redo-
again.
sleeper tomorrow morning, 8-hour picks so that everybody can kind of text
I like
in their
that.
picks.
Oh,
It's a good way to
All
go.
right.
Because everybody's schedule is busy. So
All right, well, we're getting back into our Betting Hero picks. It's week 2. BettingHero.com. Promo code MIBETS. If you're interested in sports betting, just hit me up. I'll help you along the way, and I'll explain it to you there. But, yeah, go to BettingHero.com. Promo code MIBETS, and that'll be a good way to go. Last week I went 1-4, right back into where I was last year. Ryan 3-2, along with John and Micah went 2-3. But we got some real football this time, guys. We got real games. We got some great matchups that I just can't wait.
This is where Sam turns it around.
This is where I actually start paying attention and start researching. No, I don't have time for that. But starting off with number 23 Cincinnati at number 19 Arkansas. Arkansas is minus 6.5. Ryan or John, you guys start us off.
This is tough, man. Cincinnati just came off that dream season,
Yup.
but they lost so many key players. I'm going to have to pick Arkansas in this one. It's almost going to be one of those, like, bad timing for a team like Cincinnati who's not used to that kind of physical play.
John?
So does Cincinnati get the 6.5 points?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're plus 6.5.
So if they lose by 5 and I pick Cincinnati, I'm a winner.
Yeah.
Give me Arkansas.
Micah?
I don't want to pick against Cincinnati, but I have to. I got to take Arkansas.
Really? So I already had Cincinnati written down. I'm not going to buy into Arkansas.
Chalk
want
up the L for you.
I want the SEC to lose so badly. Speaking of SECs losing, Utah at Florida. Florida is a 3-point favorite.
What? That can't
Sorry.
be right.
Is that right? Let me pull that up. They might be a 3-point dog. Sorry. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I think you're crazy for having this down on paper. Is that what you wanted to say?
Utah is...
You put it on some nice paper.
Yeah, really nice paper.
Utah's -3. Florida is +3. Sorry.
Man, I'm not even going to tell you yet.
No, you should tell
Am
us.
I first?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to take Utah on this one.
John.
I got to go Utah. I don't want to. I'm trying to get a gap here between me and Ryan.
He's already playing that game?
Yeah. I just want to go 500 on the year, all right?
You guys should really make your picks before, so then we don't just do it that way. It'd be a good way to do it. Just have them written down, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Writing
Maybe
them down?
research.
Or just don't take any of my picks into consideration. I can walk out over 500 record on the picks at 3-2 for the season, you know?
That's a good point.
Chalk it up.
Do that.
It's the only win on the night for me right now.
Micah, what do you got?
I'm going to take Utah. I think they're going to smoke Florida.
Yeah, it's intriguing to me. The number is very confusing, and usually Vegas is right on. I don't know why they're not buying into it as much, but I'm going to take Utah -3 as well. But I'm very interested to see where that line moves over the course of this week. Next we got why am I doing this? Next we got Oregon against Georgia.
Oregon.
Georgia -17.5. Holy, or sorry, 17 -17 points.
What do you got, Sam?
Holy
You want me to go
moly.
first? I'm going to take Oregon.
Dang, I was going to take Oregon.
I just don't think
That's a lot of points.
that's
this
just too many points.
Neutral site?
Yeah, it's a neutral site. It's in Georgia, but it is a neutral site.
Not in Athens.
That's bull
I don't
crap.
think so.
Neutral
It's,
site
yeah,
in
neutral.
Georgia.
Get out
It's
of
at,
here.
in Atlanta. That's what the SEC does. Every big game, let's play a neutral site. In my
You
backyard.
stupid clowns.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking Oregon. Ryan.
Yeah, give me Georgia.
John.
I'll take Oregon.
I don't think it's gonna.
17.5.
17, yeah.
Yeah, but Oregon might score 10.
I want to see it. I want to see Georgia's defense do it again. Micah?
Georgia.
Oh, boy. Singing his picks already. Next, we got Notre Dame at. Oh, why didn't I put the lines even
Ohio
on
State
here?
-17.
-17.
Yeah, that's why I can't put my picks down first, Sam.
I know, I blew it.
Yeah,
My
no,
bad.
it's
How are we supposed to answer this?
All right, Notre Dame
Can't
at
work
Ohio
like this.
State. Ohio State is -17 points. John, you start us off this time.
Track game. Track, not trap.
Track.
Ohio State.
Okay. Ryan?
I believe it when I see it with Ohio State. I'm going Notre Dame.
There's the separation.
Ryan,
It's a
Micah.
2-game swing right there.
Micah.
Ohio State is coming off a really, really pissed off season. They're going to go out there and smoke Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the wait. I'll see it when I believe it with Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman. So I'm taking OSU. Oh, my gosh. That sounds so stupid to take OSU -17. Oh, yeah. All right. Next, we got our in-state game, Western Michigan at number 15, Michigan State. Michigan State is a 22-point favorite. Micah.
22?
22, weird number.
Yeah, give me Michigan State.
John.
I think Western's going to keep this a little bit of a ball game, or they're just going to score points late when it's out of reach. Give me Western, Michigan to do something with that spread.
It's called cover the spread.
Cover? Oh,
Cover.
I
yeah.
could use a cover right now.
Ryan.
Yeah, this might be the hardest game for me to choose. Feels like a trap game. I'll go.
You got to choose it though.
Yeah, I'll go State.
I'm going to go Western. I agree with John. I feel like Michigan State in these moments, they win by like 19 easily. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a weird one. But I think Western could maybe do a backdoor cover here and cover the 22.
Special teams with difference. Punt block, probably a return touchdown. Win by 45.
Trouble with the snap?
Not bad. Worked
All
out
right.
for him
You
once.
did it to
Last
yourself.
game of the week, you got Colorado State at number 8, Michigan. Michigan is a 31-point favorite. Ton of points. I still think Michigan's going to cover those points. I do. I think Michigan's ready to roll. And like I said earlier, take Michigan, take the overs. They're on a mission here. Both these quarterbacks are be on a mission. You guys, Ryan?
Well, I'm taking the over. I agree. I think they're going to let them loose and try to prove something, win the job.
Micah?
Same.
John? You want to take the 31?
Yeah, do it. Come on.
Gosh, that's a big.
It's
It's a
such
big
a big
number.
number.
Yeah, week 1.
I mean, that's really, if they get 2 scores, then all of a sudden Michigan has to score 41, and it's like, ugh, you know what I'm saying?
41's not that big.
I know, but
Yeah.
it kind of is.
I feel like that defense is going to come out
They
hungry
score
too.
17.
They're going to be trying to put up zeros early on. You know, isn't that a Michigan thing?
Yeah,
Points
yeah.
per game,
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
especially non-conference. Give me Michigan.
Michigan.
Gosh, dang
We
it!
all took Michigan. We are such
That was dumb.
slappies. Slappy Haven.
So what? Do the Lions go get Alex Leatherwood now? Last year's first round, 17th
I
overall
wouldn't
draft
hate
pick.
it. It doesn't
I mean,
cost
as
him
a
anything.
backup tackle.
Doesn't cost him anything.
No, just drop Nelson and pick him up, and if he doesn't work, who cares? You lost
Yeah.
Nelson in the deal.
Literally, yeah. I would not hate, but I mean, we get the second overall. Like,
yeah, we get
waiver,
second,
right?
second
So
dibs on
do you
him.
think the Jags will take him?
They could.
Yeah,
They might. They probably will.
They probably will.
Yeah, but we have a good shot. I mean, better than every other team.
If he's there, do you do it?
other than the Jags, I would do
Or
it,
would you
yeah.
rather take somebody else? Is there
No,
anybody
I would,
else?
I would do that. I would do that. That he is the number one or first round draft type of body for somebody like that. Yeah, take him.
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
We're going to get right into our beer grades as soon as John allows me to with the stream thing. Oh, now we can talk beer grades. Sorry, I almost forgot. No. What are we drinking tonight, Micah? Do you remember?
Yeah, from Tapistry in Bridgman, Michigan. We're drinking Citron City.
Lots of Citra hops in this, baby.
Lots of Citra hops. I found a little bit of info. It's a 5.9% American Pale Ale. I honestly am starting to think I might not be an American Pale Ale guy. I'm not quite sure what constitutes as an American Pale Ale.
Yeah,
I like the IPA, not the APA. So I think
International.
I think it's a good beer. I don't know. I just want to grade this, and
Let's
you
get
guys
this
can
over
move
with.
on.
No, let's do it. Let's
I'm
get
gonna
this
go
done.
with a 7.7.
It's not a bad score.
Not a bad score. John, what did you think?
I'll vote in a second. I still got a little bit to wash down.
Is that your first one?
Yeah, well, yeah, and I mean, I just been
Yeah.
my thumb is sore from just ripping my phone apart. Yeah, let me give you a grade in just a moment.
All right. I'm gonna give mine, and I'm gonna give it an 8.1. I thought it was really good. I really like the Citra hops. Love that little flavor. So, how about that game? I cannot wait to watch that game.
They just got Lavish. I can't even say it.
Laviscus Murray.
Laviska
Chanel.
Chanel. Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
that was really hard to say.
I'm going to. Is that really what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You think Myles Garrett heard that?
Gee,
That's-
why? That is one team that I would not try to piss. I would not talk about Cleveland. I mean, he can say that because he knows that their offense is going to suck. And that, I mean, if he wins,
Yeah, he could beat him.
yeah,
Yeah, but
21 to
he
10.
might get roughed up in the process. He might be. There might be a season ender.
yeah. Jeez, I do like Baker Mayfield. I kind of wish we would have went after him.
8.0.
8-0?
It's a good solid beer.
Yeah.
I do like the flavor.
I like that.
It's not too heavy
I
on
like
the
that
aftertaste. What was the percentage? Alcohol percentage?
5.9.
I feel like
Wow.
it's heavier.
I thought it
than
would
that.
have been heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did. It's the bite. The very bitter.
Yeah, it reminds me almost of like a double IPA
Yeah.
with a little like smoother, like citrusy flavor on it.
Yeah.
I guess.
No.
But I would have thought higher than 5.9. That's
No,
cool.
yeah. Good beer, though. Well, that was episode 171.
Kerry also had an
College
8.0
football. Very nice.
on the Staycation
Arvines.
IPA.
Thank you
Arvines.
guys for recording. Thank you all for watching and listening. Share us with your friends. Help us grow our audience. Talk to you next week, if not sooner.
Peace.
I was absolutely
You've
worthless.
been listening to State of My Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions, to the Tigers to the Pistons, to Michigan and Michigan State, and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.